The Wolverines of Bo Schembechler, 8-2 overall in the season, 7-1 in the Big Ten Conference. Earl Bruce's Buckeyes, a similar 8-2 mark, 6-2 in the Big Ten. The Wolverines, Lee, conceivably could tie for the Big Ten Conference Championship. That is, if Northwestern was to upset Illinois today.
Fat chance. The captains are meeting at the 50-yard line along with the officials for the toss of the coin. Stefan Humphreys and John Lott for the University of Michigan. For the Buckeyes, Garcia Lane, Roland Tatum, Bill Roberts, and John Frank, the quad captains.
Coach, tell the truth. You have little butterflies?
A little bit. Yes, a little bit.
Me too, Coach.
I bet you do. I don't think anybody here is
Ohio
otherwise.
State won the toss.
Great.
And they elected to receive.
Great.
And we're just about underway in the 80th meeting between the Ohio State Buckeyes and the Michigan Wolverines, a traditional rivalry that dates back to 1897. And one of the reasons this rivalry is such a bitterly contested rivalry is that it took 7 years for the Ohio State Buckeyes to score their first point ever on a Michigan football team. That happened in 1904 when Bill Marquardt picked up a Michigan fumble and ran it back 56 yards for the first points ever scored by the Ohio State Buckeyes on those great Michigan teams of the early years.
Lee, you weren't at that game, were you?
I had a ticket, but I didn't go. It was raining.
We should mention Michigan's 2 losses this year. 25-24 out in Seattle to the Washington Huskies. A 16-6 loss to Mike White, apparently Rose Bowl bound Illinois Illini. You're, of course, in Columbus familiar with what happened to the Buckeyes. A loss on the road at Iowa, a loss to Illinois.
One interesting thing about the loss to Iowa by the Buckeyes that has not been publicized. Coming out of the Oklahoma game, Mike Tomczak at the Oklahoma game suffered a heat stroke. It was so serious that he actually had liver damage, and he did not recover fully in time to play against Iowa. He did play, but he was not in top form against the Iowa Hawkeyes. Consequently, the Hawks beat the Buckeyes in their first Big Ten game of the year.
We're awaiting the appearance of Michigan out of the tunnel. And, Coach, have you seen much of this over the years? Or you've always probably either been in the locker room?
Matter of fact, it gets a little crowded there in the tunnel. The game can start in the tunnel.
They're nose to nose and toes to toes in that tunnel right now. Here they come, the Wolverines of Michigan. The electricity in the stadium is unbelievable. A dark, cloudy, overcast day, about 50 degrees. So far, the weather has held off since about 1 o'clock. And there are the Bucks making their appearance at the entrance to the tunnel.
Michigan leads the series, 43 wins, 31 losses. There's been 5 ties in this great rivalry.
But since 1919, Gary, this series is dead even. 31 wins for Ohio State, 31 wins for Michigan, and 5 ties.
Coach, in preparing for a contest like this, different during the week, obviously the players feel it, but as far as a coach, different methods Michigan week as opposed to other Big Ten contests.
You've got to make sure of one thing, that you don't peak too early. You don't dare get ready to win this on Thursday. You're going to win on Saturday. And you don't dare peak too early. Of course, your preparation starts long, long before that.
What did you do psychologically to prepare your Ohio State teams for this great game?
It depended on whom they played the week before. If we'd had a real tough ball game like the great Iowa teams back in the 50s, we couldn't work very hard for Michigan. And it was more mental than it was physical. On the other hand, if you play a team in which Ohio State won very easily last Saturday against Northwestern, then you've got to work hard. You've just got to do it.
We're just about ready for the kickoff. The Buckeyes are lining up to receive the kickoff from Todd Schlope, the Michigan kicker. And here with the play-by-play of the 1983 Ohio State-Michigan game here on WBNS 10 TV. Your sports leader is Gary Radnich.
Thank you very much, Lee. As you said, Todd Schlope will kick it off. Todd, the right foot. naked. He was a barefoot kicker. He was actually the place kicker at the beginning of the year on extra points and field goals. Missed one in the Washington game that cost Michigan that contest. He has been replaced by Bob Bergeron. But here we go. A barefoot kicker, Todd Slopey, will get things underway for Ohio State and Michigan, and here we go.
Woolridge and Lindsey deep. Ball goes to Woolridge.
And we'll open up Ohio State, 1st and 10 on their own 20-yard line, and the crowd is ready, both sides. Mike Tomczak, of course, will open at quarterback with Von Brodnax and Keith Byers behind him. And they're opening, they have decided to go with Barry Walker, number 43. Lee, there's been some talk of Brodnax with an injury during the week, and they're going to open with Walker.
Brodnax has a slightly twisted ankle, and Barry Walker from Lancaster is in at the fullback position, a 6-footer, 214 pounds.
And Tomczak goes to Walker up the middle immediately. And the young kid stopped by Al Sinsich. So Barry Walker, 6 foot, 214 pounds, 122 carries, a 4.9 average out of Lancaster, gets the call to open things.
A little cross reverse to Walker, who probably is the quickest man in the Ohio State lineup to hit the hole. And he hit it very well there. He picked up 9 yards. You saw the starting lineups for the Ohio State Buckeyes offensively.
Call it 2nd and 1 at the 29-yard line.
So it's 2nd down and 1. And a pitch out. Now going to Byers. Flag goes down. He has the first down. We'll wait for the official call. Referee John Nealon and his crew working this ball game this afternoon. The last 2 years, of course, they have belonged to Ohio State. And the story, Jim, of course, has been costly Michigan turnovers.
Yes, it has. We have an illegal motion penalty against the Buckeyes of Ohio State. I was going to mention, as we take a look at Keith Byers, that 230-pound tailback for the Ohio State Buckeyes, that they must have surprised Michigan a little bit with that play, starting the fullback in motion. That's the first time they've done that this year, and apparently that's illegal, or he started toward the line of scrimmage, or they got some illegal motion up front. But you saw the fullback start in motion, and Byers, that big tailback of theirs, will get the ball a lot this afternoon, because I think Earl Bruce in Ohio State wants to go on the ground against the Wolverines.
All right, now they move the fullback, Walker, into that wing on the left side. Byers the lone back. And Tomczak firing to the fullback at the 30-yard line, close to the first down. It was 2nd down and 6 when they snapped that ball, and Byers on the receiving end that time. He just came out of the backfield. As we talked about that offense, Byers, Brodnax did not get the start at the fullback position. Rather, it was Barry Walker, sort of a surprise. John Frank, certainly the cream of the receivers there, the tight end. He's outstanding and looking for his 108th reception in this ball game. That would make him the number 2 receiver in Buckeye history. 1st and 10 at the 31. And the first down gathered up by Barry, or rather the first call goes to Barry Walker across the 35-yard line. They rule him down at the 37.
And Ray, it looks like the Buckeyes are content to stay on the ground against this Michigan defense.
Walker, of course, having to confront with this Michigan defense on that last carry. A little bit of a change in there as Tim Anderson, of course, getting the starting call. Carlton Rose once again starting, this time on the inside at the linebacker post. 2nd down and 3 at the 38-yard line of the Buckeyes. Byers on the carry. And if you're going to stop him, that's the way to do it. Around the ankles. Rose was on top. And at the bottom of the pile for the University of Michigan, Al Sinsich.
Michigan coaches all week long have been talking to the Michigan defense about hitting Byers at the knee or below. As we take a look at the Michigan secondary, Brad Cochran and John Lott, the corners, the safeties, Evan Cooper and Tony Gant. But defensively, Michigan must hit Byers below the ankles, because if they get him up above the waist, it's a mismatch, because he is a huge, strong upper body kid, and he can make a lot of yardage after you hit him if you hit him above the waist.
All right, it's 3rd down and 3 for the Buckeyes. And Tomczak getting pressure, firing out, and Michigan with a great charge led by Kevin Brooks that time, forcing it over into a punt situation for Ohio State.
On both third down situations, Michigan has come with a blitz. Look at Kevin Brooks and Mike Mallory. Both of them were in there. They had one guy to block for them. That was Mark Karowitz, the offensive tackle. He had to block two people. He couldn't, and that's why Brooks came free and forced the pass to be thrown early. Give him a half sack, Ray.
Carl Edwards, the punter, now back to punt. He carries a 42.9 average in the Big Ten for the year, just about 38 a punt. Cooper back at his 18-yard line for Michigan. Low spiraling kick that'll bounce around the 26 and bouncing out of bounds. So they'll place the ball at the Michigan 26 before they go on offense. Let's pause for this message. So the University of Michigan goes on offense for the first time this afternoon. The line of scrimmage at the Wolverine 26. Garrett and Rogers, the running backs. Handoff to Rogers, cuts it back up over the middle. To the 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. Could go all the way, and instead it's hauled down from behind, right around the 29-yard line. They mark it at the 27, and it was Calvin Bell, a junior from Richmond, Virginia, making the touchdown-saving tackle for Ohio State.
Michigan caught Ohio State in a flow to the football, Ray. One of those situations where Rogers cuts back. Now he's out there, gets a good block out here from Mark Ray. Right there you saw him going down, and Rogers rips off a big gainer on a cutback play, taking advantage of Ohio State's quickness flowing to the motion of the football.
Rogers gaining 47 yards on that carry, and so the ball is marked at the Ohio State 27, 1st and 10. Steve Smith faking a handoff to his fullback, pitches now to Rogers, and Rogers goes out of bounds. And they'll mark it at the 24, saying he stepped out of bounds over there. So he's faking to his fullback, Garrett, running the option, and then pitching again to Rogers.
Well, they came with the option, Ray. They came with the option, and it worked well. They got 5 on the play.
And to make that option go, the offensive line of Michigan's going to have to do a whale of a job blocking up front. Smith and Garrett and Rogers in the backfield, the receivers. Nelson, Mark Ray, and Bean. Mark Ray and Bean, the wide receivers. 2nd down and 7. For Michigan. Mark Ray wide to the left, Bean wide to the right. And it's Garrett on the carry, gets across the 20, just about to the 19-yard line. So Garrett coming in this ball game averaging 4.5 on a carry, turning ahead, and finally brought down by the interior linebacker Clark Backus. On defense, in that 3-man forward wall for Ohio State, Laurie, Lee, Backus, and Tatum. Tatum, a good one, a hard hitter. And in the secondary, a very strong secondary, and that's the strongest part about Ohio State's defense. Need 2 yards, and Garrett going straight ahead, close to the 1st down, hitting on that right side, and they indicate Michigan 1st down at the 16.
And it was a simple play up the middle. They are running the option, and one of the first parts of that option, Ray, as we've talked all season long, is that fake to the fullback. You saw the fullback get the ball the last 2 times in a row, but because they ran the option on that 1st down play to Rogers after the long run, that means those linebackers can't stay inside and cheat against the fullback. They got to float outside.
Garrett comes out of the ball game. Armstrong now in a fullback to go with Rogers. Fake to Armstrong, option play. Smith on the carry, gets inside the 15, 14, close to the 13, and Backus leading the way on the tackle against Steve Smith.
First time we've seen Michigan run the option to the long side or far side of the field. The short side of the field, it went for 3 yards to the field. They got more action from Ohio State flowing to the ball. Ohio State is very quick defensively, and their linebackers and secondary people, they've come up to support the run extremely quickly. I wouldn't be surprised in a situation like this if we don't see some play action kind of a pass, Ray.
All right, we'll find out, Jim. 2nd down and 7, 3 yards on that carry. Armstrong stays in there at fullback. And Armstrong on the carry, gets inside the 10, close to the 9-yard line. So Greg Armstrong getting some playing time early in this ball game. Morrill, the tackle on the right side for Ohio State on that stop. Good experience for Ohio State as far as talking about upperclassmen. Seniors, juniors, for the most part, seniors in this defensive group. At the 9-yard line, Third down and about 3 yards needed.
Double tight ends, Ray.
Garrett back in at fullback. And Smith trying to cut back in. Does not get the first down, and it was Tatum in there around the ankles to make the tackle on Steve Smith.
Came with the option again into the double tight end situation, and Michigan had the first down, but Steve cut it back inside just momentarily, and the hole was outside. That allowed Tatum, with his quickness, to get in there and stop Smith before he got to the line of scrimmage or got only a yard. Bergeron comes on now to try to make it 3-0 for the Wolverines.
Bergeron has that ball marked by Decker at the 16. It'll be a 26-yard attempt. And for Bergeron, attempting his 15th field goal of the year. He's 14 for 15. Give him number 15 with 8:14 to go in this first quarter. Michigan goes on top on a 26-yard field goal by Bergeron. Michigan 3, Ohio State nothing. 15 to go in this first quarter here at the University of Michigan. The Wolverines on top by a score of 3-0. Schlopey all set for the kickoff. Lindsey and Woolridge back there to take the kickoff. And it's Lindsey, number 20, decides to come out. At the 15, straight ahead, gets close to the 17-yard line. Now you can notice that his running mate Woolridge says, stay back. Instead, Lindsey elected to bring it out of the end zone.
Anything more than 3 yards deep in the end zone, Ray, and really it's a wise idea to stay in the end zone. You saw he tried to bring it out from about 5 yards deep. He only got to the 11, 16-yard line. So they lose 4 yards if he takes the touchback.
The official now has marked it at the 17. Make it 1st and 10. Byers on the carry. Fumble, loose ball down there. Recovered by Ohio State. But I'll tell you, Cinchit was in there to greet him. Tim Anderson was also sticking his nose in the action.
Watch 53 Cincinnati. He comes off the block and sticks his nose right in there. Now he comes down with the left arm and scrapes the ball free. That's a great play by Cincinnati. Now Michigan can't react to it. John Lott has his hands on it. Then it's batted away, and it's Anderson, 22, that gets on the ball for Ohio State as they get a big break, recovering their own fumble.
Right at the original line of scrimmage, so no gain, no loss. 2nd down and 10 for Ohio State. Byers again. Nope, check it. Woolridge on the carry. Woolridge close to the 22-yard line. Brad Cochran in there to make the stop. Woolridge, a sophomore out of Akron, and really has served as a backup to Keith Byers. But with some of the lopsided scores that Ohio State has had over the season, Woolridge has got a lot of playing time behind Byers.
And Byers immediately back into the game, Ray. That big bull, Earl Bruce, wants to have that kind of a running back in the game. He's big, strong. He can break tackles, and in situations like this in big games, an extra yard by anybody is a big play because every yard means something in a game like this with Ohio State and Michigan.
Broadnex, the fullback, is in that wing pack position. Fake to the fullback, and now coming out throwing, and I believe it is Jemison who makes the reception at the Ohio State 40-yard line. Just a pattern down and cutting to the sideline and staying inbounds.
Down and out pattern. Tony Gant over there on the coverage. He's the safety. He gave him a little bit too much room to the sideline. First thing that's key is Tomczak gets protection. Cincic comes off late, gets some pressure, but Tomczak's able to throw the ball real well out there, and you see how much cushion he's got. Does he catch it in bounds? Yes, he's got 1 foot in. The catch is good, and Ohio State with a first down.
Byers on a 1st and 10, trying to slide outside, no part of it. And on the chase was Carlton Rose, who had a hold of Byers, and Byers getting back just across the 40. Give him a yard on that carry and make it 2nd and 9. There's a story on Byers coming into this ball game. He needed 50 yards in this game to go over the 1,000 mark in the Big Ten alone. Byers has carried now 3 times, and he has only 1 yard to show for it. Ohio State has gone to the air a couple of times. Michigan on that last drive used 7 running plays plus the field goal, so they have not gone to the air as yet. 3-0 Michigan, 6 minutes to go in the first quarter. Byers on the carry, and boy, he has swarmed over just about his motion to the 42-yard line. A hard yard to pick up that time against the Michigan defense.
One thing Ohio State has not done, Ray, is tried to go outside. Everything we've seen from the Buckeyes has been Byers or Woolridge or the fullback off tackle. We've seen 1 counter play. Michigan is loading up people inside. They're actually moving a middle guard over toward the strength of the formation. Now Ohio State, after 2 runs, forced into a 3rd and 8.
So Ohio State attempting a 3rd down conversion here and coming in this ball game, averaging just about 43% on their 3rd down conversions for the year. They are 3rd and 8. Tomczak has a man open. And on the catch this time, it's John Frank, his tight end. Close to the first down. The official says he is shy of the first down about 1.5 yards. And so it's punt formation for Ohio State.
And you saw Tim Anderson coming in there on the blitz. Michigan blitzing, had single coverage out there on Frank with Carlton Rose and Cochran. And you'll see Michigan coming with linebackers. As 57 Anderson comes in, just gets the pass off. But that forced Frank to break the pattern off quicker. They didn't get enough for the first down, so while they didn't get the sack, the blitz still worked.
All right, Edwards on the punt, end over end. Cooper waiting for it at his 14-yard line and gets out of bounds at the 21-yard line. So Michigan will go on the attack at the 21-yard line when time resumes. Right now a timeout. Michigan on top, 3-0. Time back in at Michigan. 1st and 10 at the Wolverine 21-yard line. Remember the first play, they went from the line of scrimmage moments ago. A 47-yard jaunt by this man, Rogers. This time he is not that successful. Gets a couple of yards on the carry, close to the 23-yard line. So Rogers 2 on the carry, stopped by the nose guard Spencer Nelms, a junior out of Decatur, Georgia. And so 3 carries right now for Rogers for a total of 52 yards.
Well, the reason that play didn't go like the first one, it was the same play. That time Ohio State's pursuit on the backside of the play stayed home, and they took away the cutback from Rogers.
All right, Garrett and Rogers. Smith the quarterback. Mark Ray wide to the right. Bean wide to the left. Now they use Rogers in that little slot as a wing position on the left side. Smith with a man open. And close to the first down. Making the catch that time was Sim Nelson. Roland Tatum gets credit for the tackle.
Ohio State dropped back into a 3-deep zone. They had their linebackers taking pretty deep drops. Sim Nelson just came out, read the linebackers, and got into a hole. Smith delivered it right on target, and they got enough yardage for the first down. Good pattern, good throw.
That's for Smith, the first time that he goes to the air, and he's successful with that pass to his tight end. And for Sim Nelson, his 34th reception of the year. 1st and 10. And that was the 3rd first down by Michigan. Ball at the 33 of the Wolverines. Fake to Rogers. Smith with plenty of time. Good blocking. Firing deep to Mark Ray. Should go all the way. Will go all the way. Touchdown, Michigan.
Big play by the Wolverines, and a very big mistake by the cornerback back there, Sean Gale, who we talked about at the top of the show, Ray. He went for the interception, and Smith got it over his head. Mark Ray is running a post from the left side of your screen. It's against the zone. He looks off him, comes back. Now watch number 2 go for the interception. It's over his head, and Mark Ray is behind him. 67 yards for the touchdown. The Wolverines strike quickly.
A big passing play from Smith as you take a look at it at the ground level. Mark Ray had beaten this man by about 3 yards, but as Jimmy told you, trying for the interception, didn't have enough height and could not do it. So here's Bergeron to try for the extra point. Decker all set to hold. Ball is down, the ball is up, the kick is good. And so with 3 minutes and 48 seconds to go, the University of Michigan Wolverines 10, the Buckeyes of Ohio State nothing, but 2 electrifying plays so far in this first quarter. One a running play, the second one the big passing play.
Right, and look at Steve Smith. He looks right, he's looking right, then he comes back left and throws this ball up very nicely. You never throw the long ball short. And when Gale went up for the interception, rather than staying with his man, he gave the opportunity for Mark Ray to get behind him. He gambled and lost, and Michigan benefits with a big 67-yard touchdown pass. And the Wolverines, Ray, all season long have been looking for that pass, the big play. They haven't got it except for the last couple of games since Steve Smith's arm's been feeling better and he's been able to throw the deep pass.
You remember taking a look at the Michigan roster this year, and the one thing they had talked about it as we took a look at the Ohio State kick return runners, and Schlope all set to kick off, was Mark Ray coming into the university, billed as a big play man. And he has matured and now has his 4th touchdown pass of the year reception-wise. And for Smith and Mark Ray, they combined on the longest passing touchdown play of the 1983 season of total of 67 yards. And up to this point, it was a total of 53. And who did it belong to? It belonged to Mark Ray against Minnesota. 10-0, 3:48 to go in the opening quarter. Michigan on top. Schlope's kick. And taken this time by Lindsey. He elects not to bring it out. And so Ohio State will set the line of scrimmage at the 20-yard line.
Ray, you talk about Mark Ray and his receiving. That was his 6th catch of the season, 4 of which have gone for the distance. Now, tell me about big play receivers. That's about as big as you can get.
Really has got the opportunity to play and really has made the most of it. Scoring drive, of course, on that last one, capped off by the big play of 67 yards. So Ohio State with Byers and Walker, the running backs. Pitch out to Byers, trying to use some blocking, didn't get much blocking, swarmed under. And if there was a couple of key words for Michigan defense coming in this game, it was gang tackling Byers.
We talked to Alex Agassi yesterday and looked at films of Byers in Ohio State, and one of the things Agassi told us, Ray, Michigan defensively must gang tackle Byers, and if anybody gets him one-on-one, they've got to hit him below the knees. As we take a look at the over 100,000 fans here at Michigan Stadium doing the Wolverine wave.
All right, Byers now on 5 carries, only a total of 4 yards. 2nd down and 8 for Ohio State at the 22-yard line of the Buckeyes. And now Tomczak going to an audible and tries to put a man in motion. That man is Anderson. Hand off to Byers. Got a little daylight that time across the 25. Brought down close to the 27-yard line. It was Tony Gant from his free safety position to make the stop.
Well, you saw Tony Gant come up and tackle Byers, and then you saw Byers really roll over him. This is what you mean by you don't want to tackle him one-on-one. Good hole. Now Byers is hit there. 1, 2. He gets 3 extra yards after the original contact. And for Earl Bruce and the Ohio State Buckeyes, that's the kind of back they like. When you can bleed that kind of yardage after your first contact, you're going to have a good ball game.
3rd down and 2. And this time it was the carry by Byers. Mallory in there to make the stop. They had to get just about to the 30-yard line, and they should have and do have enough. The ball's marked at the 31, so Ohio State chalking up the 1st down. 3rd first down for the Buckeyes. 10-0, Michigan on top. Byers checking out of the lineup over to the sideline. Woldridge in a tailback now for Ohio State. Brodnick's the fullback. Woldridge on the carry. Gets about to the 33, maybe the 34-yard line at the bottom of the pile. Anderson for Michigan. Mallory also in on the stop. And they're going to give some credit to Hammerstein, too. Hammerstein had checked in and replaced DeFelice on the previous play. Two yards on that last carry, 2nd down and 8. And we're very happy that you could join us this afternoon on our Wolverine Sports Television Network. Michigan leading 10-0, 1:35 seconds to go. Tomczak got a man deep. Lott tried to intercept and couldn't do it. Completed down there to Anderson at the Michigan 41-yard line.
They caught Michigan in a zone, and John Lott had the underneath coverage. Then he releases him outside to the safety. The safety man, Evan Cooper's got to get over there a little earlier. First, it's a misdirection rollout. Now, this is where it's key. Right over the hands, although actually Lott got a piece of the ball, but still, that's the seam of the zone that's open. Too deep. Lott lets him go underneath. He tries to get his hands up. He can't. Cooper's a little late getting over to cover.
1st down and 10 at the Michigan 41-yard line. Tomczak, the signal caller for Ohio State. And the handoff this time to the fullback, Barry Walker. Might have got a yard at the most, and Nate Rogers was in there to greet him first. Well, everybody happy this afternoon here at Ann Arbor. Maybe the Ohio State fans at the present time not too joyous as their team is down 10-0 with 1 minute and 5 seconds to go in the opening quarter. I'm Ray Lane along with Jim Brandstetter. We're very happy you joined us for the 1983 season. This is our finale of the regular season. Glad you could be with us. Tom Hassel, who has had some problems, of course, with that hamstring the last couple of ball games, getting into the contest. Carlton Rose has come out of the ball game at linebacker for Michigan. 2nd down and 10. No gain on that last one. Here's Byers plodding along. Great second effort, getting close to the 36-yard line. Looked as if he was stopped at the 39.
We talked about it coming in, what Byers can do for you with his size and his ability to get yardage after the original hit. And that's what Byers did there. Should have been stopped for a gain of probably 1 or 2, and he picked up 4 after he was hit. And that's one of the keys for Michigan. Once you hit him, you've got to get people there, gang tackling with guys like Tommy Hassel, the linebackers, Anderson and Mallory, getting in there to make sure that the second contact stops Byers.
Ohio State with 4 first downs. They face now a 3rd and 6 at the 36-yard line of Michigan. Tomczak wants to pass. Avoids a would-be tackler and then fires behind Jemison. He had Jemison open, elected not to go with him. It almost cost him of being tossed for a loss. He finally released, but fired wide and behind his wide receiver. So 4th down and 6 coming up. Michigan on top by a score of 10-0, and that is the end of the first quarter. To start the second quarter, Will Gamble for the first down. It is 4th down and 5. Tomczak, good protection, a lot of time, and firing out to Byers. Close to the first down, rammed right at the 31-yard line. In there to hit him was Cooper, along with Cooper, Tim Anderson. Boy, he had a lot of time to set up.
A lot of time to set up, and there you see Byers standing out there. He was the back that got the fake on the running play. Now, Michigan didn't have anybody covering him. Anderson came off. Cooper saw it late and got to him, but whether Byers got across the first down marker, we don't know. It's going to be very close.
Well, you take a look right now for yourselves. Yes, just did get it. So the Buckeyes have a first down. And that will be at the 31-yard line of Michigan. In that first quarter, by the way, Ohio State had the ball for 9 minutes and 45 seconds. Michigan 5 minutes and 4 seconds. But in those 5 minutes and 4 seconds, the Wolverines put 10 points on the board. 1st and 10, Buckeyes at the Michigan 31-yard line. We're just into the second quarter. Handoff to Byers. Almost lost that ball. He was juggling it as he hit the line of scrimmage. You saw Anderson and Mallory come up there to greet him right at the line of scrimmage.
It appears, Ray, as though Michigan's defense has both Mallory and Anderson keying on Keith Byers, and whenever he takes 1 step toward the line of scrimmage, they are filling in a hurry. They do not want to let him get any big yardage through the middle. And again, we have not seen Ohio State try to go outside.
Byers has carried the ball 9 times now for Ohio State for 19 yards. He got 1 on that last carry. A repeat performance this time, close to the first down, spinning and turning inside the Michigan, the market at the 20-yard line. Kent and Cochran in there to make the hit on him. But Byers that time getting good momentum as he took the handoff.
This is what happens when you get a guy that isn't stopped at the line of scrimmage. Byers, when he gets a head of steam up, you talked about momentum, Ray. He is just one tough back to bring down. There's the hole, good blocking. You cannot arm tackle this guy. He'll run right through you. Cochran got a good shot at him, as you saw, but Byers ran through that and got 3 more after he was hit there.
So Ohio State with the first down at the Michigan 20-yard line. First down and 10. Byers gets the call again right over the middle. Just about 5 yards on that carry, going right over the middle, following Joe Dooley and Zelensky, his right guard, Dooley the center.
Earl Bruce is doing nothing fancy here on this drive. He is just running the ball right between the tackles, and he's using the big guy, Keith Byers, to get it done.
You saw number 64. That is Jim Luche, a guard who brings in the play. He alternates with Laudermilk, the other guard. Byers now 11 carries for 33 yards. And timeout now. DeFelice having some problems down there and being assisted toward the Michigan bench. He was shaken up earlier in the first quarter and came off, and Hammerstein came in to replace him. Dave Meredith has gone in now. DeFelice being assisted off the field.
Looks like a right ankle, Ray. Looks like a right ankle or right knee. We don't know right now. We'll have to check and see how Russ Millen and his staff does on the sideline with DeFelice. One of the things, though, about Michigan defensively, as we've seen in the past few weeks, is they have a couple of different sets of 3 down interior linemen. They can flip-flop Hammerstein and Meredith and Sinsich all through in there with Kevin Brooks. So they've got good depth in that position.
Meredith, number 96, the senior out of Sterling Heights Stevenson High School, just checked in the place of Vince DeFelice. 2nd down and 6. Byers again, this time on the pitch out. And they really submarined him over there in a hurry. And it was Hammerstein that got underneath to make a rolling tackle on him.
First time Ohio State has tried to go wide with a play, and you see it. It's a pitch sweep. Now watch 66. Hammerstein comes in there. Now he just goes down in the ground below the knees. Once again, you got to hit Byers below the knees, because if you get into an upper body battle with him, Byers is going to win it.
No gain on that carry as he tried to get outside. You see it's 3rd down and 6. Ohio State trying to get on the board here, but more importantly, trying to get the first down. That was Frank, the tight end, in motion. And they go to Frank. He steps out of bounds at the 5-yard line. So Frank had gone in motion, then reversed himself in motion, and was on the receiving end.
Well, there's not a lot you can do about that, because that's just a great pass and a fine reception. He's looking to Frank the entire way, and Tomczak lofts it up, and that's a nice catch, because Lyles was hustling over there to try to get to him. He still had to get it up over Lyles' hands, because Lyles is following. He does. A nice catch, nice pass, nice pattern, isolating the tight end on the outside linebacker, Rodney Lyles.
And so for John Frank, the senior tight end at all Big Ten, his 108th catch of the year, of his career, that is. Byers goes no place, stacked up at the line of scrimmage at the 5-yard line. Fumble, Michigan's ball. Oh, a turn of events here with 12 minutes and 7 seconds to go. Byers losing control of that ball as he hit the line of scrimmage.
Well, we didn't see the ball pop free, Ray. Let's take a look at the replay. Anderson coming in there along with Mallory. They get him low. Well, you see Michigan's defensive backs really hustling in there looking for the football, maybe from this angle. Byers going in. There's the ball pop free right there. You saw the hit. I believe it was Mallory. Mallory made the hit as he went through the line of scrimmage. Michigan gets a big break, Ray.
All right, they took 6 minutes and 41 seconds on that drive. Nothing to score for it, and Michigan taking over now with 12 minutes and 7 seconds to go, shifting around. And Michigan doing a big job of causing the turnover at the Wolverine 5-yard line. They're going to mark it at the 6, so it's 1st and 10. Here's Rogers on the carry. We'll get maybe a yard or 2 at the most. A year ago, fans, you'll remember, Michigan turned the ball over 6 times to the Buckeyes. It turned out to be costly turnovers and caused defeat. 3 times a year before when Michigan had turnovers. The story in this game, the key could be turnovers, and Ohio State with that costly one here at the 5-yard line.
Exactly, and when you get inside the 10-yard line in a big game like this, Ray, excuse me, one of the keys is scoring, getting points on the board. You don't get that many opportunities in big games against good defenses, and when you get down to the opportunity to score, you got to put points up.
Rogers got 1 yard on that last carry, 2nd down and 9. Here's Rogers again, and Gang tackled as he is shy of getting up to that 10-yard line, close to the 9. They'll mark it between the 8 and the 9 yard, at the 9-yard line. So about 3 yards on that carry. Give them a couple yards, and they'll make a 3rd down and 7. So it's tough going now with guys like Morrill and Tatum in there to plant the shoulders into the Michigan running backs.
Michigan running both plays into the short side of the field, though, Ray. And it makes you think that maybe Bo is going to come back to the wide side of the field with an end run, possibly a sweep or an option to the field.
Rogers, 5 carries, a total of 56 yards, and Michigan faced now with a 3rd down and 7 at the Michigan 9-yard line. Smith looking and firing low, trying to get the first down. He had Rogers out there and Mark Ray, but it was into the turf, and so Michigan will be calling on Don Bracken to punt it out of Michigan territory if he can.
Exactly. Michigan has had a trouble the last couple of weeks with rushes on the punts. Yesterday we saw the films of Bracken, and they've been working on him to get a quicker release with his left foot, take a shorter step when he receives the football and try to get it off quicker. Bracken feels that that's going to help him not only in the distance of his punts, but also avoiding that rush.
You're taking a look at number 12 quickly, and that was Garcia Lane back. He has returned 2 punts this year for touchdowns, so keep an eye on him this time. Number 12, Bracken punts it out of the end zone, not very far, bounces at the 35, gets an Ohio State bounce, back to the Michigan 25-yard line. Ohio State with great possession, field position right now, and we have a timeout. Wolverines 10, Ohio State nothing. By Michigan's Don Bracken turned out to be only 17 yards. So at the 26-yard line of Michigan, Ohio State goes on the attack, and across the 26 to the 24, maybe the 23-yard line. Byers on the carry, close of gaining maybe 3 yards on that carry. We'll see where they mark it. Anderson and Hassel in there for the tackle. Couple of yards on the carry. 2 yards, so it'll be 2nd and 8. DeFelice getting treatment there, and what a job fellas like Russ Miller and Rex Thompson have done this season in that training department for the University of Michigan Wolverines. Timeout. Michigan has asked for a timeout with 9 minutes and 58 seconds, and I think that sort of surprises maybe the Michigan coaching staff. But we do have a timeout. Michigan 10, Ohio State nothing.
A little more time against the Michigan blitz. It works, and he throws a real nice pass on the run. Frank, again, a nice catch. Coverage by Lyles is not bad. That's just a good pass and a good catch. You got to give credit to those guys when they make the good plays. And Frank is an outstanding receiver. Tomczak rolling left and throwing across his body put it the only place Frank could have caught it.
Well, the referee, John Nealon, had first indicated he wanted the chain brought across on the far side of the field. Before they got there, he said he took another look at the ball, said, nope, it's a first down. It's just inside that 16-yard line. So at the 15, Tomczak now 7 of 9 in the passing department for a total of 90 yards. Byers breaks a couple of tackles, drives all the way to the 5-yard line of Michigan, dragging Rodney Lyles with him to the Michigan 5. Also Cooper in there on the stop.
Boy, all you have to do is give him a little bit of a crease, and there it is. Got a guard pulling through there, Zelensky, and he gets a block on Gant, and Lyles has to come over, and you can see it's like 3 guys. Cooper coming over finally to put the hit on him. Michigan has only allowed 3 rushing touchdowns, Ray, all season long.
Fans remember that last one at Wisconsin.
Right, it was against Wisconsin. Wisconsin's Errol Ellerson went in on the ground. They're threatening here again.
1st and goal, Ohio State at the Michigan 5-yard line. And driving down close to the 1-yard line, Tomczak on the keeper that time. The official will mark it at the Michigan 1.
Straight quarterback sneak, and he's got a lot of room in there. He got 4 yards on that carry, as Michigan did not go into their goal line set on the 5. Now they'll have people pinching the center, but they didn't go into that goal line on the 5.
2nd down and a yard to go for that touchdown for Ohio State. So it's 2nd and goal. Handoff to Byers, and Byers with a little extra effort driving into the end zone. Touchdown Ohio State. And so after 32 quarters, Michigan's defense finally coughs up a touchdown in the rushing department.
Straight power. Watch Byers. Rolls into the hole behind Zelensky. Anderson hits him behind the goal line, but he rolled off and got in. Watch 57 Anderson. He hits him back there, but then it's Byers and all his power, rolling once and rolling into the end zone.
For Byers, his 18th touchdown of the season. Spangler will try for the extra point, number 10 for Ohio State. And his kick is up and good. So the Buckeyes get on the board with 8 minutes and 44 seconds to go in the 2nd quarter. Michigan 10, Ohio State 7. Had great field position where they started out at the 26-yard line, and Byers capped it off with that 1-yard run for his 18th touchdown of the year. A gain of 5 on the carry, that time by the fullback for Michigan. 2nd and 5. Fake to Garrett. Option play. Steve Smith eluded a couple of would-be tacklers. Should have the first down at the 30-yard line.
First time we've seen that formation too, right? Sim Nelson, the tight end, splits out wide to the right. They've got 2 wide receivers to the left. Stephon Humphrey pulls. This is not an option. It is a quarterback sweep. And Humphreys gets the block on the corner, Crecelius, and then Smith does a good job of running in heavy traffic, getting enough for the first down.
Jimmy, when you talk about the sweep he has, of course, when he gets out there, he can decide where his blocking is. If he wants to cut it back, he can, right?
Exactly. Depending upon which way the corner man on the line of scrimmage defensively plays him.
1st and 10 at the Michigan 30-yard line. And this time Garrett on the carry. Eddie Garrett picks up about 3 yards on that carry. Brought down by Thomas Johnson. He is a backup interior linebacker, and Tatum also in on the stop. By the way, we mentioned Thomas Johnson, a young man out of Detroit's McKenzie High School and only a sophomore down at Ohio State. So they got great plans for him. Garrett has carried the ball 4 times and averaging 4 yards a carry, a total of 16. 2nd down. And we'll say 7, a long 7. Smith faking, wants to pass on the run, looking over the middle, and he's got Sim Nelson. Sim Nelson has enough for the first down as the reception is made right at the Michigan 44-yard line, then driven back to the 43.
One of the keys to that play is that Steve Smith broke contain and got outside with blockers. Nelson was running in a parallel pattern along with him on the field. But Smith's ability to run forced those linebackers to come up closer to the line of scrimmage, and they left Sim Nelson alone, and Smith just dumped it over them to Nelson for the first down.
Smith now 3 for 4 for a total of 86 yards. Nelson has gathered in 2 of those 3 receptions. And it's 1st and 10 at the Michigan 44-yard line. Fullback Garrett, speedy, getting through. Nice opening over the middle. Good block there thrown by Dixon and Humphreys along with DeOrio. And he churns up close to the 50-yard line. They'll mark it at the 49.
Good play to run, too, because Ohio State was coming with a blitz. And you see how they flow. Tatum and those people are flowing so quickly to the motion, to the side of the play. And when Garrett got the ball, he saw those people running across his face. He just cut it back against the grain.
So Garrett now with 22 yards carried on that ground and 5 carries. Michigan now 2nd and 4 at the 49, the Michigan 49-yard line. Rogers trying to find some running room. No go that time. Dave Morrill, the defensive tackle in there, whose dad used to play football and basketball at Michigan, making the tackle.
Penetration up at the line of scrimmage on a play where you hand the ball to the tailback deep. If you allow penetration to the line of scrimmage, your tailback's going to have trouble.
Michigan 3 for 4 in the going now for the first down. They are 3rd and 3. And trying to get the first down, 83 yards at the 50-yard line. Smith coming up the middle, has the first down to the 45, 44-yard line. Looked as if he was hit just about the 47. Somehow got a couple of more yards out of it.
Straight quarterback draw, Ray. Watch the Michigan offense take the rush to the outside. There is Dixon doing a good job. Nice block by Garrett on Tatum, and Tatum comes up and makes the hit, but not after Smith had the first down. Good call. 3rd down play, passing situation, run Smith on a safe quarterback draw.
So Smith has carried 4 times now for a total of 15 yards. Garrett and Rogers, the running backs, in behind Steve Smith. 1st and 10 at the 44 of Ohio State. Handoff is to Rogers. Good blocking. Grabbing him first up there was Orlando Lowry. At the 40-yard line. So about 4 yards on the effort by Rogers that time.
So once again, Ray, Ohio State really flowing fast to the football. A cutback play by the back. Bo Schembechler probably wants those tailbacks, as soon as they get the ball, to look away, backside of the hole, to see if they can run the cutback.
2nd and 6. Well, Michigan down 2 for 4 in their 3rd down conversion. Pitch out to Rogers. First down, driven out of bounds at the 30-yard line. Kelvin Bell leading the way for Ohio State to drive Rogers out of bounds.
Big play because Michigan ran it. Look at Rogers in motion to the left, then comes back to the right. Quick pitch, and they get outside the end. Byron Lee That's the first time Michigan has ran that kind of motion and then turned the tailback back the other way and came with the option.
All right, Rogers has galloped now for a total of 71 yards on 8 carries. And, of course, one of the big ones was his 47-yard gallop in the first quarter.
And one of the reasons that play worked, Ray, is because Ohio State is flowing so quickly to the ball. Any kind of a counter play, misdirection will work. That time it was a misdirection option.
Bean wide to the left, Mark Ray wide to the right. And it's Garrett on the carry, running straight up inside the 20-yard line. Great fake that time by the quarterback Smith, finally brought down by Sean Gale.
And once again, give credit to the option. Look at this. Everybody is flowing and running way by the ball. Now Garrett cuts it back actually over the left guard. The play was designed to go to the right, outside. Garrett cut it back right there. Ohio State's flowing so quickly to the ball, that natural hole opened up.
Garrett now with 34 yards on the ground in 6 carries. Michigan with a first down at the 18-yard line of Ohio State. 1st and 10. Michigan leading 10-7. Smith keeps it up the middle inside the 5-yard line. Tripped up by Bell. Also a little help in there from Hill.
You can't say it enough, Ray. Once again, the hole opened up way back inside. Look at everybody from Ohio State flow. Look at them all running out of there. Now Tatum overruns the ball. Smith cuts it back up over the center, and Ohio State, their speed and quickness flowing to the ball, trying to stop Michigan outside. Michigan is just countering by cutting every play they run back against the grain.
Now that last carry by Smith, he has a total of 29 yards and 5 carries right now, and Michigan has got 3 first downs and 3 plays. 1st and goal now at the 4-yard line of Ohio State. Long count. Handoff is to Garrett, piled up just about at the 3-yard line, driving straight ahead, a gain of about a yard. So it'll be 2nd and goal, 3 yards to get in, and Bo Schembechler wanting nothing better to get 6 more points up on the board. A story against Bo, of course, against Ohio State. You saw the stats. However, the last 2 years he remembers because they were both defeats. Schembechler in this ball game looking for his 140th victory since coming to Michigan, his 105th win in the Big Ten. 2nd and goal, 3 yards out. Rogers slanting, driving, and was good blocking by Garrett, maybe just shy of that touchdown inside the 1-yard line.
Straight power football on the goal line. This is where Ohio State would use Byers because of his great size. Michigan does not have a back like Byers. They might run a fullback, but they'll finesse you a little bit more on the goal line than Ohio State will.
All right, Bean comes out, and Michigan will go with 2 fullbacks. And Steve Smith now elects to call for a timeout with 1 minute and 48 seconds to go in the first half, and knocking on the door of Ohio State. Michigan leading by a score of 10-7, but it's an idea that Smith wants to be sure exactly what Bo wants. We're this close to getting some points. Let's make it right.
Exactly. Not only is that, the clock is running down. There's 1:48. It's not terribly critical at this point. You know, timeout situation, because you won't have the ball later anyway. Ohio State's timeout's more critical to them. As we take a look at Rogers running behind Garrett, does not break the plane of the goal line. Steve Smith now talking with Schembechler. The other reason a timeout's good, because you're on the 1-yard line, a 5-yard penalty here for delay of game. Miscommunication could be very, very costly in a big game like this against Ohio State, Ray.
Well, Michigan has used 6 minutes and 56 seconds on the clock on this drive that's consisted so far of 13 plays, and knocking at the door right now outside the goal line and just inside the 1-yard line. Smith has had 5 carries for a total of 27 yards. Armstrong has checked in, so they've got Armstrong in and Garrett, a couple of fullbacks to complement Rick Rogers. 2 tight ends, Canas and Nelson. So looking for power to beef it in. 3rd and goal. That's Armstrong in motion. Rogers diving. They stood him up. And Ohio State does the job that time on Rogers. Couldn't get in. Big
Rogers
stop.
tried to dive in, Ray. We couldn't see who made the hit, but Rogers tried to dive in, and Ohio State came up big right at the point of attack, and it was down underneath. It was Tatum who forced him to jump, and number 98, Thomas Johnson out of Detroit, came up over the top and right there laid the wood to Rogers and denied him to get in the end zone. 4th and a half a foot. Michigan's going for it, Ray.
Going forward is Wright. Armstrong on that wing on the right side. The eyes, Garrett and Rogers. Armstrong in motion again. And a whistle sounds just about the time a ball was snapped. A flag is down into the end zone of Ohio State, and it's going to be against Michigan.
Calling it a delay of game, Ray, against Michigan. And again, it didn't seem like they took a lot of time on that play to get it going, but that delay of game cost them. Michigan may now be forced to go with the field goal team.
So they mark it back to the 5. Exactly right. Delay of game. And that means the field goal unit will come in. Bob Bergeron will try for his second field goal of the afternoon. So the Wolverines were inches away from a possible touchdown, taking too much time, penalized, and moved back. And that means that Bergeron will check in for his second field goal effort of the afternoon. 1 minute and 1 minute and 1 second to go in the first half. 22-yard effort. Kick is up. And it's no good. So, costly mistake by Michigan. Nothing results on a scoreboard. Ohio State fans are jubilant. Michigan fans are disappointed. 10-7 the score remains. We've got a timeout. Ohio State gets a big break as Michigan went 79 yards, tried for a 22-yard field goal, and got nothing from it. And taking 7 minutes and 47 seconds off the clock. We're down to 57 seconds. Handoff to Byers, breaks a tackle, gets back to the 20, shoved back to the 18, and just about at the line of scrimmage. Take another look at that missed field goal, Jim.
Well, it looked like he just didn't hook it enough. He kicked it right straight, but it got over the right crossbar, the right upright, and it just never hooked in. Just misses by a couple of feet wide right. That's a chip shot for Bergeron. 15 out of 16 this year, and now 15 out of 17.
Little discussion over there, of course, at the Ohio State bench. That was Tomczak talking with his coach, Earl Bruce, and we were talking about the record with Bo Schembechler and what a job Earl Bruce has done at Ohio State since coming along. Now in his 5th year for the Buckeyes, and he in the Big Ten, 34 wins and 6 losses coming into this one. Time remaining in the first half. Byers, by the way, as that discussion continues over the bench, and that's a story on Bruce and his outings against Michigan since taking over the home. Byers, 17 carries, 48 yards, so he's been the big one. Other backs have carried for 6 times for a total of 30 yards for Ohio State. Well, Bergeron trying to get some support and feeling very badly. Support, that is, from his teammates.
It's a lonely life for a kicker, Ray. You make one from there and you're a hero, and you miss one and nobody talks to you.
Well, they're not going to talk to you. I'll go down and talk to them.
That's right.
2nd and 9. Byers again. And Byers submarine that time. It was Cooper moving up quickly, just a couple of yards behind the line of scrimmage, and submarine in there to make the stop on Byers. Timeout, Michigan, with 39 seconds remaining. And it'll be 3rd and 3 when we resume for Ohio State, and that'll give Tomczak the chance to go back over and talk with Earl Bruce some more with those 39 seconds remaining. But it was Michigan calling for the timeout, and that means that Michigan has used all of the timeouts. Ohio State has a couple if they want to do something with it.
Now, we talked a little bit earlier, Ray, about the possibility that Michigan used that timeout down on the 1-yard line to avoid getting the delay of game, and then came up on the next play from the half-yard line and got the delay of game, missed the field goal. Now that timeout becomes costly because they did not score. They could use their 3rd one after a 3rd down play if they stopped Ohio State, and maybe would have had a little bit of chance with a few seconds left to try to throw a bomb to try to get something out of it. But now it looks like Ohio State, if they don't get the 1st down, will be able to run out the clock fairly quick enough so that Michigan won't have an opportunity to get the ball back.
Ohio State has used 31 yards here in the first half, and certainly Tomczak has done a good job in the passing department. He's 7 of 9 for a total of 90 yards. There have been 24 plays from the rushing department for the Buckeyes for a total of 84 yards. So a total offense of 174 yards, but the Buckeyes trailing by a score of 10-7. Little counterplay that time, going no place, and Mike Mallory you'll find at the bottom of that pile for Michigan, down to 30 seconds remaining in the first half. Fourth down, and 3 yards needed by Ohio State. The Buckeyes, I think, will take plenty of time if they get this one away.
Well, if the referee calls delay a game with 1 or 2 seconds left, that would be a 25-second clock. If he lets the clock run out, I think you'll see Michigan upset because they did mark the ball ready for play with about 27 seconds left.
And we're down to 5 seconds remaining now. And wait a minute now. Just about the time they were indicating the end of the half, a flag went down, which it should have done. And of course, Ohio State will be penalized. Will not end the half with the penalty. That punt will still be booted.
And the Michigan coaches are saying there should have been 6 seconds left on the clock.
And they are right.
When the timeout, when the flag would have been thrown for 25 seconds.
Now they're going to put 4 seconds back up on the clock. So we talk about compromise.
No, now they're going down to 1, Ray.
Now it's 1, so it's not a complete compromise.
Right. The Michigan coach is saying there should have been 6 seconds left because they marked the ball ready for play at 31 seconds, but no chance.
And Ohio State will not punt. Instead, Tomczak on a keeper. Senchich makes his tackle. That will be the end of the first half. It was not Senchich, by the way. Just about to get underway. Rich Spangler, number 10, setting it up. Evan Cooper, number 21, and Rogers, 20 for Michigan. As Michigan will wait for the kickoff to get the second half underway. And we are underway. Driving Rogers deep into the end zone. That ball bouncing through. And Michigan will put it in play at the 20-yard line on the touchback. So the second half of certainly one of the greatest rivalries in college football between the University of Michigan and Ohio State getting underway. The Wolverines clinging to a 3-point lead as you take a look at those halftime stats for the first 2 quarters. And you can toss out the first downs. Take a look at the rushing. Michigan dominating the rushing department. Passing has been consistent on both sides. The yardage-wise, Michigan belongs to it with a total of 237, but leading only 10-7 in this game. 1st and 10. And Smith giving to his fullback, Garrett, straight ahead, stopped by Tatum and Lee, the linebackers from the right side.
Michigan giving a ball to the fullback. First play in the second half, Ray. I think just to make those linebackers conscious to stay inside, or we'll hit you with the fullback. Come back probably now with some kind of an option, maybe go back outside.
Garrett 2 yards on that carry. 2nd down and 8 for Michigan. Now they split Bean and Markray wide on the right side. Sim Nelson, the tight end, is wide on the left side. Rolling down the right side on the keeper was Smith, but not going too far as Backus is in there to plant the shoulder to him.
Came back outside with the option. Steve tried to cut it back inside, and Backus beat the block of Art Belordis, number 59, or he could have pitched that ball out. Here it is. Rogers is open out there, but you see Backus took on the block by Belordis, then came back inside to tackle Smith. Good play.
Against a Buckeye defense like that, what do you have to do to be successful with that option?
Well, if they're going to fight outside like that, you've got to pitch the ball to the trail back.
3rd and 6 for Michigan. Smith back to pass. Now going back to his fullback, Garrett, and it was low and incomplete. He took a look at his tight end, decided he would not go to Sim Nelson. And then I would think maybe it might have been his 3rd man he wanted to go to. It was a fullback, and maybe Garrett had gone a little too far out to the left.
Plus, Steve was feeling the blitz and feeling the pressure. They didn't come with a blitz, but they were beginning to come off blocks. And Steve was beginning to feel that, so he went to the checkoff man. But he had so much time, that checkoff pass was too far away.
Bracken in there to punt. He had a disastrous one in the 2nd quarter of only 17 yards. Garcia Lane waiting for it. He'll take it around the 49-yard line. Hewlett is in there to down it at the 48-yard line of Ohio State. So not a great punt and no run back that time by Garcia Lane. Before Ohio State goes on offense, we've got a timeout. So after the short punt by Brackett, Ohio State with good field position at the 50-yard line, 1st and 10. Ohio State staying at the 50-yard line. Barry Walker, the fullback, on that carry, and again, not getting anything.
And we haven't seen Von Brodnax, the starting fullback for Ohio State, as there's an injury on the field, and Michigan's Mike Mallory went down to a knee and is now coming off. But Michigan gets a quick injury timeout. Mallory getting help from Russ Miller and Rex Thompson. But we haven't seen Von Brodnax almost all game, but here he comes in the game now. Brodnax in the backfield for Walker. He'll be teamed up with Byers, and those are two very big people in that I-back situation for the Buckeyes.
We saw Mallory come off of there. That means Andy Moeller has gone into linebacking, the sophomore out of Ann Arbor. 2nd down, and throwing on the run because of a lot of pressure applied by Michigan was a quarterback, Tomczyk. It is incomplete. So it'll be 3rd down and 10 for the Buckeyes.
Michigan gambling well, coming with a blitz from the outside from Carlton Rose. And even though he got the pass off, Ray, the blitz forced him to throw it early, and that's what forced the ball to be incomplete.
So 3rd down and 10. That ball remaining at the 50-yard line. Exactly where the Buckeyes had gotten it. Tomczyk wanting to pass again. Plenty of time. Going to Anderson. Almost intercepted by Cooper. It is incomplete. Cooper trying to pick it off at the 23-yard line. And so the Buckeyes face with a 4th and 10. Still at the 50.
Ball was underthrown, and Evan Cooper had an opportunity to pick it off. Probably would have been a good interception, get better field position than with a kick. You see Cooper react back to it. Ball's thrown low, and it just slips through.
Cooper back there now to take the punt at his 10-yard line. Edwards in punt formation. Carl Edwards, the senior, out of Groveport, Ohio. Left-footed kicker gets one away. It's a beauty. Deep and heading for the end zone. Touchback. Boy, Edwards really got his foot into that one. And Michigan will go to the 20-yard line to start this next series of downs.
A very good series, though, by the Michigan defenses. They stopped Ohio State. Ohio State had good field position on the 50-yard line, and they didn't get anything out of it. And that's good first series by the Michigan defense to stop Ohio State. Now Michigan's got to get a couple first downs. If we're going to play a game of field position in the second half, Michigan's got to get it out, get some first downs.
Michigan will employ double tight end. Caddis in there, number 81 on the left side. Sim Nelson on the right side. Garrett and Rogers, the running backs. 1st and 10 at the 20-yard line of the Wolverines. Rogers gets the call, driving straight ahead, maybe 3 yards. At the bottom of the pile was Tatum, also in there was Lowry, and the other linebacker, Clark Backus. 3 yards, 2nd down and 7 at the 23 of Michigan. 10-3 the score, with 12 minutes and 25 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter. The story on Rogers this afternoon for a total of 74 yards. Now Mark Ray and Bean are split wide on the left side. Mark Ray in the flanker position. Bean split as a split in on that left side. Fake to the fullback. On the keeper this time. And I'll tell you, Ohio State did a splendid job of covering the tailback, Rogers. That's why we did not see the pitch.
Exactly. Rogers was out there, and Steve Smith looked to pitch to him, but he saw that he was covered. Smith comes down the line left. It's an option counter type fake to hold the linebackers. Now he's on the corner. Now he looks to pitch, but he sees that Rogers is taken. Then Steve just has to eat the football because there was no play there at all.
You saw Lowry come up there and make the hit on him. And number 2, Sean Gale, was a fellow that was following Rogers, causing no pitch. 3rd down and 7, Wolverines. The lone back is Garrett. Passing situation. And firing complete to Mark Ray. Mark Ray takes it and gathers it in at the 32-yard line. Lane in there to make the tackle. Garcia Lane. 1st down, Wolverines.
Mark Ray is the inside receiver of 2 wideouts out there. He just comes up and turns it in just inside the 1st down yard marker. And I'll tell you, that's a very good tackle out there by Garcia Lane, because had Mark Ray gotten away from him, turned it around, we might have seen what we saw at Minnesota last week.
That means a long gallop. Touchdown bound. Good fake, going deep, intended this time to Sim Nelson. They say complete at the 38-yard line of Ohio State as Sim Nelson was battling the out-of-bounds line, and the official said he stayed in bounds.
That is a great catch, and I'm not so sure he stayed in bounds, Ray. Play action on the option. Smith goes back. He sees the backside receiver uncovered. Now he comes back over to Sim Nelson, who's running straight down the sideline. Nelson turns in the air. Now see if he's got a foot down and possession. Oh, it's awful close. Awful close.
Thought he was on the line. 29 yards they give him on the reception. Third pass that Nelson has gathered in this afternoon for a total of 49 yards. 1st and 10. Rick Rogers tripped up, reaching in there. That time, Crecilius, the tackle from the left side.
Boy, had Rick Rogers kept his feet, he'd have had some distance right over the middle of that Ohio State defense.
He got to the 36-yard line, a couple of yards on the carry, 2nd down and 8. 10 minutes, 34 seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter. Michigan in front of Ohio State by a score of 10-7. There's the young man that made that last stop. He's a junior out of Ashland, Ohio. And last week was a UPI Defensive Player of the Week in the Big Ten. At the 36, 2nd and 8. Fake to Armstrong, the fullback. Smith looking. And now sideline pattern. And Bean could not hang on to it. He was drifting around a 23, 22-yard line. And I think he was worried of staying inbounds and didn't make the reception.
Yeah, he was. Vincent has made 3 or 4 of these catches this year where he's able to balance himself on the sideline. This time he's all right, but he just cannot hold on to the ball. Both feet in bounds, but he's got to make the catch.
So it goes for an incompleted pass. 3rd down and 8 for the Wolverines. Ball still at the 36-yard line. Caddis, a tight end, comes out. Mark Ray, wide receiver on the left side. Bean split wide on the right. Nelson on the left side as a tight end.
Blitz.
And going to Mark Ray, can't hang on to it. Took a lusty hit that time from Gale and Bell. Off the fingertips, Gale coming in there as well as Bell.
Michigan did a good job picking up the blitz. Watch Rick Rogers. He takes Backus. Now Smith's got time. He comes open right there in that seam. Now he's got the ball. Does he have possession? Referees ruled no. That is not a fumble, rather an incompleted pass. As those Ohio State secondary people, we told you how experienced they were and how they come up and they'll really hit you. That time it caused an incomplete pass.
Line of scrimmage at the 36. Bracken back at the 50-yard line, trying to maybe get it out of bounds if he can. The near side of the field, Garcia Lane standing around the 10-yard line. Bracken punting high, Spyro, and that one will float in and out of the end zone. So Bracken is disgusted with himself. He got too much foot into it, and it'll be brought out to the Ohio State 20-yard line. Timeout. Wolverines clinging to a 3-point lead. Ohio State getting ready now to go to the line of scrimmage at the 20-yard line. 106,115 on hand here at Michigan Stadium to see this 80th meeting between these two universities. 10-7, Michigan leading. We're into the 3rd quarter. Contact made as Sanchez comes across and makes contact on Joe Dooley, the center. Flags go down. We'll wait for the call. Procedure against Michigan, so it'll go against the Wolverines.
Take a look at that catch by Sim Nelson again. Is he in bounds? It's awful close. To tell you, the referee is closer even than our end zone replay camera, Ray. So I guess the referee called it good. It's good.
1st and 5 now. 5-yard penalty against the Wolverines. Marks it to the 25-yard line. Byers, and he picked the spot. Lott gets over there and downs him on a rolling tackle that time. You can see a little problem with Lyles coming on the left side. They took Lyles out as well as Brooks, and that gave Byers some running room.
Well, they give it to him, and it's a power-out tackle. And again, all he needs is a crease. He sees it. Once he is past the line of scrimmage, then you got problems. Lott has got to come over, and all he can do is get in front of him, slow him down some, get help from Gant coming over, and that's what happened.
Byers brought it up to the 44-yard line of Ohio State. 1st down and 10. Byers has picked up 77 yards on the ground now. He gets the call again, spinning and churning and getting close to the 48-yard line. Again, you hit Byers around the midsection or higher, it's not going to do any good.
You have got to hit him in the legs below the knees. If you get into a strength battle with him above the waist, you're going to have a load on your hands.
Rodney Lyles in there on that stop. 4 yards on the carry by Byers that time. 2nd down and 6 at the 48-yard line of Ohio State. Wolverines 10, Ohio State 7, 8 minutes and 56 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter. Fake to Byers. Tomczak firing, and a pass was trying to be completed down there, as it was Jamison trying to make the reception, couldn't do it. Flags have gone down.
You see Tomczak getting a blitz coming late from Mike Mallory, number 42. Tomczak throws. It's a little bit hurried, and Jamison covered well over there by Cochran. See what the flag is, right?
Flag against the Buckeyes. Discussion of what Michigan wants to do with it. Motion and decline by the Wolverines. So they'll turn over the down box to make it 3rd and 6. A little confidence that time on your defensive unit.
Big play here for the defense.
Ohio State sending Anderson wide on the left side. Jamison wide on that right side. Tomczak faking and going over the middle to Jamison. It is complete and run out of bounds at the Michigan 42-yard line. Finally brought down by Cochran.
Ohio State caught Michigan in a blitz situation where they had single coverage on their outside people. And Jamison just comes over the middle, real shallow, but he's 4 yards in front of Cochran because Cochran started 4 yards behind him, and it's a tough situation to put a defensive back in on one-on-one. Take a look at how they block it. Both linebackers coming and offensive up front. Ohio State picks them up.
1st and 10 at the Michigan 42-yard line. Here's Byers again, and Byers was greeted by Mallory that time, along with Tim Anderson, just about after he got a yard and shoved back. They may give him 2 yards on the carry. They do. Line of scrimmage 42. They mark it at the 40. 2nd down and 8. 8 minutes and 5 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter. Ohio State on a drive. Meanwhile, the Michigan bench concerned a little bit of trying to stop this drive of the Buckeyes that started back at the 20-yard line and now at the Michigan 40. Tomczak looking, has a man open, complete to Anderson, gets away from one would-be tackler. Cooper on the chase and drives him out of bounds inside the 19-yard line of Michigan. So the big catch that time by Cedric Anderson.
Anderson goes out from his wide receiver spot against Michigan zone and just comes up underneath and runs a curl pattern. Now again, Michigan on a blitz with Mallory coming. Now overrunning the ball is Cochran. Now a good move here by Anderson to get outside of Cooper, and a block is thrown on again. Now Cooper's the only guy to keep him from out of going the distance.
Anderson now with a couple of catches for a total of 36 yards. And Ohio State 1st and 10 at the Michigan 18-yard line. Fake to the fullback. Now the pitch on the option play. Byers chased by Gant. Byers in. Touchdown Ohio State. Perfect timing that time by Tomczak on his pitch.
You don't see Ohio State run the option much because Steve Smith, or rather Mike Tomczak, is not the option quarterback that Steve Smith is. But this time they got it working and they come outside. Now Tomczak does a good job holding on to the ball. He's got Rodney Lyles in a pickle. Lyles has to stop the quarterback. Now it's out there, almost a clip out there by Anderson, but he got the pitch out late. Gant one-on-one with Byers is not going to do the job, and Byers gets into the end zone, and Ohio State goes in front. A good, impressive drive by Ohio State with a couple of key passes on 3rd down.
And certainly the Buckeyes not using a lot of plays, only 7 plays to move the 80 yards, capped off on the 18-yard pitch out to Byers and going in for the score. Spangler to try for the extra point. His kick is up, and his kick is good. And so the Buckeyes, for the first time this afternoon, have gone in front of the Wolverines of Michigan. Score, Buckeyes 14. Buckeyes all set to kick off now and having the lead for the first time. Terry Smith, number 23, joins Rick Rogers at the goal line for Michigan. And Terry Smith will not bring it out. So with 7:34, Michigan put the ball in play. And the Wolverine 20-yard line. Certainly the championship game not up for grabs in this one. Unusual as it may be, Illinois has already taken care of that, but a piece of second place at stake between the Buckeyes, of course, and the University of Michigan. 2 minutes and 23 seconds taken on only 7 plays for the Buckeyes to get in for that last score and the go-ahead. Of course, the Wolverines with the win today would be gladly accepting a bid to the Sugar Bowl. If not, the Buckeyes would go if they pull off the victory. And, of course, the Fiesta Bowl also enters the picture. 1st and 10. Smith rolling out, looking for somebody, trying to find somebody. Has Bean open at the 39. And a roll no catch at the 39 as Bean was really hit by Kelvin Bell.
That's good pass defense when you got a receiver open and he's on the sideline and he catches the ball. If you can knock it loose that close to the sideline, you're going to get the call from the official on an incompletion. Here it is. Bean has it. Does he have possession? Referee was standing behind him. That's close. If he has possession, it's Michigan's ball where it went out of bounds. If he doesn't, incomplete pass.
Right now, the Buckeye fans happy, cheering. Their team on top, 14-10. 2nd down and 10 for the Wolverines at the 20-yard line. Garrett and Rick Rogers are running backs in behind Steve Smith. Bean wide to the left, Mark Ray wide to the right. And again, Smith wanting to go to the air. He's looking for Bean. Has him open. Can't hang on to him. Pass a little bit low, but catchable at the 36-yard line, and Bean could not hang on to it. He was covered by Garcia Lane.
Boy, Vince Bean's had his hands on 2 of them right in a row. Good pass by Smitty. Little bit low. It's kind of wobbly. It's a tough pass to catch. Vince Bean got his hands on it. Thing about it is he couldn't get his body in front. If he could have gotten his body in front of it going down, he might have been able to cradle it in. But it hit off his hands and went incomplete. All
right, Smith was 5 for 7 in the first half. Now here in the second half, he's 5 for 11 in the ball game for a total of 126 yards. 3rd down and 10, still at the 20-yard line of Michigan. Passing situation for the Wolverines. Smith back. Good protection. Fires it complete and has the first down. That was Rick Rogers coming out of the backfield to gather in his first reception of the afternoon.
3rd time's a charm, I guess, Ray. Rogers was out there at a wingback position. He just curls in behind the linebackers. Tough throw by Smith and a nice catch right on stride by Rick Rogers. Big 3rd down completion by the Wolverines. And Ray, Michigan has come out after Ohio State has scored and thrown the ball on every down.
Okay, Doctor, mark it at the 42. 1st and 10. Nelson and Caddis in there, double tight end for Michigan. Handoff is the fullback. That's Garrett driving close to the 48-yard line. They may mark it at the 47. Nelms, the nose guard, making the tackle.
Here it is again, Ray, and once again, Michigan throwing the ball on 4 successive plays. Those linebackers have to loosen up just a little bit. They get good blocking at the point of attack, and you see Garrett pushing and hustling for every yard. When you can get a 1st down play going 5 yards for you, you've done a good job up front.
And he got 5 yards on that carry. Mark it at the 48. 2nd down and 5 for the Wolverines. Garrett again. And Garrett stumbling, trying to drive for the 1st down. May have enough for that 1st down. Got close to the 47-yard line. And he got just past the 46. That's all he needed. 1st down, Wolverines. Mark it at the 46.
Once again, all that is up front. The blocking again as Garrett runs behind the pursuit. He cuts it back, gets tripped up. Eddie Garrett now coming off the field. He's being replaced by Greg Armstrong. Looked like he might have an equipment problem or something. He doesn't look like he's seriously hurt.
Lost the contact, I believe, Jim.
Lost the contact?
Contact lens, I think. And he was lucky. Might have just popped out of his hand because he was carrying it, giving it to the trainer. 1st and 10 at the 46-yard line of Ohio State. Michigan in possession. You've seen what Smith has done so far. He's 50% so far in this ball game through the air. Handoff to Rick Rogers, trying to go wide. Couldn't do it. Sean Gale in there, the cornerback from the right side, moving up quickly to make the stop and a loss on the carry by Rogers.
When Michigan runs double tight ends, Ray, Ohio State comes up and supports very quickly on both corners. And everything outside is taken away by the cornerbacks who are in that secondary. They're almost acting like linebackers when Michigan gets up in that 2 tight end offense. That's how Gale got up there so quickly because he's almost playing a linebacker when they come out with 2 tight ends.
For the first time this afternoon, Kerry Smith has checked in at the line of scrimmage. He'll serve as a wingback on that left side. Rogers out of the lineup. 2nd down and 10 for the Wolverines. Smith back to pass, looking for somebody. Got a couple open. Sim Nelson makes the reception, breaks the tackle, tripped up by Lane, fumble. They'll roll the ball dead at the Ohio State 33-yard line.
They ran Sim Nelson from a tight end position right out into the flat. He will be coming out to your right. He's the first receiver. Ohio State with a 3-man rush and 8 men in coverage. And this flat area is where the opening is in the zone. And once Nelson gets by Tatum, the linebacker, then he gets a block on the corner from Marcray right here, and he's able to run over and get enough yards for the first down. He gets a good block on Garcia Lane. Marcray did.
All right, first down for the Wolverines at the 33-yard line of Ohio State, 1st and 10. And it's Garrett that time, going straight ahead. Might have got a yard, 2 at the most. Just sort of a slant to the left side.
Once again, Michigan goes with a pass, then comes back on their next play and runs a fullback off tackle, forcing those linebackers, the inside backers, Backus and Tatum, to stay inside. They can't skate out of there as quickly. Now it's a chess game. Which way will Bo go with this play? Does he run an option outside? Does he go back to throw? That's why the linebackers right now are in that position of guessing.
That time it was the defensive line. Nelms and Morrill in there for the stop. By the way, Sim Nelson, 4 catches this afternoon, total of 62 yards. 2nd down and 8 for the Wolverines. Smith now coming up the middle on the draw. And he got close to the 25-yard line. Then took a good, vicious hit. Vasilius in there, along with Backus.
Straight quarterback draw. Now watch again. Michigan's defensive line pushes everybody to the outside. Smith cuts off the block against Nelms. Now it's number 17, Backus, Ray, who makes that big hit. But a pretty decent hole in there for Steve Smith and an Ohio State player down on the field. You see Smith cut it back. Now you don't think these guys are playing hard-nosed football? Check Backus putting a helmet right on the numbers of Steve Smith. Good, hard-nosed, clean football.
That's Byron Lee, the outside linebacker, a sophomore out of Columbus, Ohio, being assisted off the field now for the Buckeyes. So hobbling his way back to the Ohio State bench. Now we'll check to see who they bring in place of the injured Byron Lee. Michigan now faced with a 3rd and 3 at the 26-yard line of Ohio State. Dennis Houston, senior out of Toledo, checks in the place of Byron Lee at the outside linebacker on that right side.
And you might see Michigan try to go after him right now.
3rd and 3. Rick Rogers back in there on the wing on the right side. Garrett, the running back, in behind Smith. Smith wants to go to the air, needs 3 yards, comes out to Garrett. They're going to be shy of the first down at the 24-yard line. Led him a little too much, but he made the catch. Houston in there to cover.
Yeah, and Michigan wanted to go to the tight end, Sim Nelson. Smith looks down the field for him. He's not open. He's covered. Smitty comes off to the checkoff back, throws it a little bit in front of him, makes a nice reception, but they mark the ball short of the first down. Michigan's got about 4th and a yard and a half, maybe 2.
Just trickling inside the 25-yard line. Need about a yard and a half for that first down. We'll say 4th and 2 at the 25-yard line. Michigan lines up. The Wolverines are going to try to go for that first down. Needing a couple of yards. Rogers and Garrett's the running back. Now Smith following his blockers. He's going to be, I believe, a little bit shy. It'll be close, but a shy maybe of a half a yard for that first down. Lost his footing, too, when he made that pivot.
Yeah, I did. What happened is they get penetration, Ray. Check it out. Smith fakes to the fullback. Now he comes out, and he's got to jump over Houston, number 58. If Houston weren't there, Ben Smith might have had the distance to get the first down. Double back fake inside. Now Smith tries to follow it, but Houston is on the ground. He's got to try to go over Houston, and he can't. And that's a big play by that linebacker just coming in for the injured Byron Lee. And on 2 occasions, he's done a good job. Both times Michigan has gone at his side, and both times Houston came up with the play.
All right, Smith got about a half yard on that carry. Michigan came up shy of a yard for the first down. And so Ohio State takes over at its own 25-yard line, 1st and 10. Long count this time by Tomczak. Goes to Byers on the handoff, slips outside. Cooper giving chase, and Lott at the bottom. Cooper and Lott making the tackle. A flag is down at the 29-yard line of Ohio State. We've got 2 minutes and 45 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter. The Buckeyes leading 14-10.
holding call on the wide receiver to that side of the field, Ray. Byers goes outside, and the defensive back out there is John Lott. You see Cooper is coming in there, but Lott over there was being held by number 22 before the play got to him, and that's where the flag was thrown. Michigan clogs it up inside and forces Byers to go outside.
So for the first time this afternoon, a major penalty against one of these ball clubs, and it goes against Ohio State. Marked back to the 15-yard line. A 10-yard penalty against the Buckeyes.
Here's a big series now for the Michigan defense. They've got Ohio State in the hole at their own 15. Got to come up with the big plays here and kind of generate some excitement, enthusiasm on that offense, because the offense really been bogged down since the first quarter.
Wideouts for Ohio State. Jemison on the right side, Anderson on the left side. Tomczak firing, looking for Jemison. Broken up by Cochran over there at the 40-yard line. Good defensive play by Michigan's Brad Cochran as the sophomore from Royal Oak steps in and flips it away.
Really good. Now they're trying to hit that seam again, and you see Cochran going up. That's the same play earlier in the game that they had hit. I think it was Jemison again, but that was John Lott who tipped it earlier, and then Jemison caught it. This time Lott was back there far enough so that he was able to get a hand on it, and Earl Bruce took a shot by his Tony Gant, the safety coming over there trying to get into it. Looked like he caught it in the shoulder.
Earl went down, got up, and called the next play.
That's a tough coach. Didn't even ask for the trainer.
Not yet. Second at 20 for the Buckeyes at the Buckeye 15-yard line. Tomczak getting pressure this time and firing. Complete. Nice catch by the tight end, Frank, that time. 5 yards shy of the first down. Made the reception at the 30.
Well, you see, Michigan's defense isn't ready. They're coming up. They're not really set. Tomczak rolls right, and he's getting heavy pressure from both Anderson and Lyles. But, again, because of the blitz outside, it's one-on-one coverage with Frank and Tommy Hassel. Hassel just can't stay with him, and give Tomczak credit under that pressure, able to get the ball out there to him.
Frank has made 4 receptions, a big tight end, good for 41 yards for Ohio State. It's now 3rd down and 5 at the 30 of the Buckeyes. Tomczak wants to go to the air again, goes over the middle, complete, and Cooper in there to make the hit, but not until Jemison had brought the ball in for a completion at an Ohio State first down at around the 36-yard line, 37 of the Buckeyes.
Another little crossing pattern underneath. Michigan had it defended better than they had earlier when Ohio State got a big first down. Again with the blitz, single coverage, and Cooper has to come off his coverage, delivers a big blow up there to Jemison, but he's able to hold on to the football. That's a good job of concentration by Jemison, and then Cooper holds on for help from Anderson.
Tomczak has gone to the air 17 times, completed 11 of those 17 attempts for a total of 134 yards. 1st and 10 at the 37 of the Buckeyes. Don't forget now, Ohio State leading in this game. Byers on the carry, wrapped up around the 39-yard line. 14-10 our score with 1:11 to go in the 3rd quarter. Mallory in there to greet Byers that time. 1 minute remaining in the 3rd quarter. Ohio State leading by 4. Their touchdown here in the 3rd quarter by Byers on an 18-yard pitch out play to him. And a point after, putting the Ohio State Buckeyes in front for the first time this afternoon. 2nd down and 8. Tomczak lucky and firing that time to Frank. Overshot him at the 45. Lott covering on the play for Michigan. Incomplete. 3rd and 8.
And another good defensive blitz coming by Michigan. Michigan has blitzed a lot on Tomczak, forcing him to throw that ball early. They're gambling in their secondary, covering people one-on-one. But Michigan is committing a lot of linebackers, outside linebackers, to that blitz, trying to get pressure on Tomczak.
All right, Buckeyes are 1 for 3 on 3rd down conversions here in the 2nd half. And for the ball game, a couple 2 for 8 overall. Faced with 3rd and 8. Tomczak wants to pass. And picked up by Cochran, intercepted. Cochran, flag has gone down. Cochran brings it back to the 29-yard line, 28-yard line. However, there's a flag at the 31 of Ohio State. We'll wait for the call. Michigan has possession. The call goes against Ohio State. Decline. It was holding, and the Buckeyes have coughed up the ball to Michigan.
Cochran does a great job here of playing man-to-man defense. He did not give enough room out there for Jemison, and probably Tomczak should have held on to the football because that was great one-on-one man defense by Cochran on Jemison in the corner. He came right up, read it perfectly, reacted to the ball when it was thrown, and got Michigan the ball back, and a big play by the defense once again.
Okay, mark it at the 28-yard line of Ohio State. 34 seconds remaining in the third quarter. 1st and 10 for the Wolverines as the Buckeyes turn it over on the interception. Fake to Garrett. Smith carries. Might have got a yard at the most. In there to get the shoulder on him was Backus. Had some other help from the linebacking core of Lowry. But it was Backus who made the first contact.
And Michigan is running the option into the double tight end set, and that puts a lot of people up there on the line of scrimmage. You saw Backus make the hit, but also outside over there was the other linebacker. And Steve Smith just doesn't have room out there. When Orlando Lowry, the other linebacker's out there along with the inside linebacker, that option's not going to go.
Michigan got a yard out of that, and that is the end of the third quarter. So when we come back to start the fourth quarter, it'll be the Wolverines 2nd and 9 at the Ohio State 27. The Wolverines trailing by 4. Final 15 minutes of this annual battle between Michigan and Ohio State coming up. First play of the fourth quarter. 2nd down and 9 at the 27 of Ohio State. Smith barking the signals to Rogers. Rogers just about to the line of scrimmage. And a real battle down there. Morrill, the tackle, making the first hit on Rick Rogers, trying to come back over the middle and had no go. Might have got a yard.
Got to get some blocking at the point of attack, Ray. And Michigan is allowing some penetration in there, and you've got to keep that penetration off out of your backfield in order for that tailback to make a cut.
Kerry Smith checks in now in place of Rogers. Lone back is Garrett. 3rd and 8. Smith looking for somebody. Double pump. And to Sim Nelson, complete at the 15-yard line. First down, Michigan.
Give credit to the Michigan offensive line for picking Ohio State up and allowing Smith to look off 2 other receivers. Looking right, nobody open. Looking middle, nobody open. Looking left for Nelson, his 3rd receiver, standing on the sideline is kind of a safety valve just past the first down marker. You see Smitty looking off. Now he sees Nelson come free and drills it. Nelson just stands there, takes the hit, but it's a big first down pass.
Nelson's 5th reception of the afternoon, 73 yards through the air for him. Smith is now 9 of 15 for a total of 173 yards. 1st and 10 for Michigan at the Ohio State 15-yard line. Hand off to Rogers. A little daylight on that right side. Tiptoeing through so carefully from the 15-yard line down to the 9-yard line of Ohio State.
Now, Ray, there's the difference you see where a team did not penetrate of a line of scrimmage. Rogers gets the ball 3 yards in his backfield. Now he's able to cut to the hole. It's back over the middle. He's able to cut back this way, find the crease, and get through it. When there's penetration in the backfield, that back has to make the cut too early.
You saw Morrill, number 57, make the first hit. Backus, the 17, was in there. Rogers now carried for 15 times for a total of 84 yards. 2nd down and 4 at the 9-yard line of Ohio State. Michigan faking this time to the fullback. Smith on the option to Rogers to the 5, down to the 3-yard line. Upsetting Rogers down there. Sean Gale, number 2. But Michigan knocking on the door. They'll mark it at the 3.
Rick Rogers on the sideline shaken up. Let's take a look at it. Down the line, the option. Now they have one guy, Houston, to option on. Caddis gets the block out there on Gale. Rogers goes right over the top into the 3. Comes back into the game now. Here's another pitch, and look at it. Now Rogers levels it off right here. Both hands on the ball, right up over the top, knowing that the first down yardage is inside the 5. Gets it to the 3. Rick Rogers with 90 yards on the afternoon comes out, and Perry Smith is into the game at tailback.
Now they have marked that ball in between the 2 and 3-yard line. So a long 2 to get to the goal line. 1st and goal for the Wolverines. Perry Smith, the tailback. Garrett, the fullback. In behind Steve Smith. Double tight end employed by the Wolverines. Hand off to Garrett, will go no place. Garrett now stretches out and maybe got a yard and a half. Very close now to the 1-yard line. But around his ankles, a young man by the name of Spencer Nelms making the important stop. They mark it at the 1, so give him credit for about a 1.5 yard carry. Garrett now 12 carries, 50 yards, and Michigan knocking on the door at the 1 yard line. Don't forget they did that in the second quarter. Couldn't capitalize on it. Now they have to capitalize. Trailing by 4. 2nd and goal. From a yard out. Smith keeps. Touchdown.
Everybody's looking to get him inside. They come with a fullback fake, and Backus is out there. The fullback runs off and blocks him, but Smitty with his speed is able to turn that corner. You saw 27, Doug Hill, coming up to take Kerry Smith the pitchback. When Steve Smith read that, he knew nobody to be outside. He only had a linebacker to beat, and with his speed, he was capable of going that last yard and putting Michigan on top.
All right, Bergeron now would like nothing better to make this extra point down to the north end of the field through the uprights to put Michigan on top 17-14. His kick is up. His kick is good. 12 minutes and 8 seconds to go in this ball game. Michigan has gone back on top, leading by 3, 17-14 over Ohio State. Placing that ball on the tee and all set to kick off to Wooldridge and Lindsey for Ohio State. Oh, how important turnovers are in a football game, and you remember that interception by Cochran with 37 seconds to go in the third quarter to set up that drive by Michigan. Line shot that Lindsey elects not to touch, lets it sail out of the end zone, and the Buckeyes will put it in play at their 20-yard line. So the Wolverines, after the interception, got the touchdown.
And it's Steve Smith on the action. Eddie Garrett, the fullback, got just enough of a piece of the defensive linebacker Backus to allow Smith to sneak into the end zone. But the key to the play again is the option running outside. Doug Hill came up to support against the pitchback, and Smith turned it up inside.
So after the interception, Michigan uses 7 plays to move 28 yards, taking 3 minutes and 26 seconds to do that. Capped off by Smith's 1-yard run. Michigan on top 17-14. 12 minutes and 8 seconds to go in the ball game. An 80-yard march needed now by the Buckeyes of Ohio State at their own 21st and 10. Fake to Byers. And a pass is completed to Jemison. Jemison takes it at the 36-yard line. First down, Buckeyes. So
interesting, Ray, that they come right back after Cochran made the interception on Jemison. They come right back to Jemison against Cochran, one-on-one. Jemison makes an outcut 16 yards down the field. Tomczak delivers it before the break, and Cochran was not able to react to it.
So Buckeyes first and 10 at the Ohio State 36-yard line. Anderson wide to the right, Jemison wide to the left. The pitch goes to Byers. Gets around one man, and finally Cooper at the bottom of the pile with help from about 3 other Wolverines.
Boy, they almost had him in the backfield for about a 2 or 3 yard loss, and I think it was Tim Anderson who came right through there and really overran the football. Coming on here, he sees the blitz out there. You see Anderson ran by the ball, and that was a great move by Byers to avoid Anderson and get back to his blockers.
Byers now has carried a total of 25 times this afternoon for 115 yards, so he has gone over the 1,000-yard mark in the Big Ten this season. The top rusher, top scorer in the Big Ten. Fake to Byers again. Tomczak firing, complete to Frank, I believe, is tight end. It is, and down at the 39-yard line, 38-yard line of Michigan.
Ohio State is doing a good job here of mixing the pass and the run. Tomczak gets good protection. Frank comes out underneath the linebackers, and he beats him and over into Cochran's area. He was able to come all the way across the field. You'll see him underneath, running all the way across the field. Tomczak watching him the whole way, and Cochran has to come over from the corner position to make the hit.
Well, didn't they used to say in this ball game it'd be a cloud of dust between Ohio State and Michigan? Today we are seeing passing. Tomczak 13-21 for 162 yards. Now looking for Byers, and boy, was there pressure as Sinchich came in there and really belted Tomczak just about the time that he released that ball.
Not only that, but Michigan read that screen very, very well. Rodney Lyles followed Byers right out into the flat, and there was also a linebacker over there helping. That screen was not in there at all, and it was a wise decision by Tomczak to throw that ball incomplete.
So 2nd and 10. As Earl Bruce does a little pacing right now. His team trailing by 3, 17-14. Michigan fans are happy now since the Wolverines have gone back on top. 10 minutes and 57 seconds remaining in this ball game. 3-point difference. Fake this time to Byers. And fumble, Michigan. Watch Tomczak that time. Coming back in, trying to get the ball. Rose on top of that ball, and Michigan has it as its own 39.
Take a look at it. The give is in the middle. It looked like there was a mistaken snap or something. I don't know what happened, but Hammerstein came up with the football. We couldn't exactly see what happened underneath the center. Rose got the football after Hammerstein let go of it. But once again, Ray, we talked earlier, Bo Schembechler knows how turnovers can hurt you. Last year, they turned it over 6 times against Ohio State. Michigan lost. This time, Ohio State has turned it over.
Tomczak reacted that time, coming away from the center, did not have the ball, thought he had it. Instead, a turnover to Michigan. Giving it to Garrett. Garrett on an extra effort that time across the 45-yard line to the 47, a gain of 7 yards on the carry. 2nd down and 3 for the Wolverines. Down to 10:37 remaining. Michigan leading 17-14, but a costly fumble by Ohio State.
Yes, Ohio State has had 2 costly turnovers here in the 4th quarter. Actually, one late in the 3rd quarter when Cochran made the interception, and then the fumble here by, it must have been Tomczak, because he never had the ball coming out from under center.
Garrett has carried now 13 times, total of 58 yards on those 13 carries. 3 yards needed for the first down. Garrett again gets the call. First down across the 50, down to the 47-yard line of Ohio State. Garrett on those last 2 plays has really been churning the legs. Dennis Houston, the linebacker for Ohio State, making a tackle.
But once again, you see the fullback as he runs through that hole, Ray. Block back, come back, cut it back against the grain.
Garrett has had a great season. He got off to a slow start, but I would say the 9 games in conference play, he has been outstanding.
And more than anything, he's been a blocking back, but with runner's ability, and we're beginning to see it here in this Ohio State game.
1st and 10, Wolverines. It's time to carry Smith. His first carry from the line of scrimmage this afternoon, and gets to the 45-yard line. Just across the 45. They mark it back at the 45 now. 2-yard carry. It'll be 2nd down and 8. Orlando Laurie, linebacker on that left side. Story on the turnovers today. Last year it was 6 for Michigan. Today 3 by Ohio State.
Big series. This whole drive now for Michigan is very big. With a clock down, Michigan can really put this game away if they go on a long drive and get points out of it.
They need 8 yards right now for a first down. 2nd and 8 at the 45. And Smith going to the air, going deep. He's got Mark Ray over there. Complete at the 20-yard line. Mark Ray somehow slipped in between 3 defenders. Buckeyes makes the reception and gets in at the 20, knocked out of bounds by Garcia Lane.
A great pattern, because Vincent Bean comes underneath and he's got Garcia Lane short. Now he turns it out beyond the linebacker and underneath the deep coverage, and Steve Smith drops this right in the bucket. What a great pass and a nice pattern. You see Vince Bean is out of the picture, but he is underneath. That held Garcia Lane long enough, and Mark Ray found that little zone open, and Smith dropped it in beautifully.
Mark Ray has gone over the century mark in receptions as far as yardage this afternoon. 4 catches for a total of 102 yards. 1st and 10. And Smith gets it back in, picks up 5, 7, 8 yards, close to the 10-yard line. Smith with a great effort, finally down by Dennis Houston.
Good running on the option by Steve Smith, and they caught Ohio State coming with a blitz from the backside. You see the linebackers coming. That means there aren't any people out here. Smith sees everybody flowing outside. Michigan blocking tough inside. Good move by Steve there to get by Tatum, and now he just uses his running ability to run through tackles and get extra yardage.
He got 8 yards on that carry. 2nd down and 2 for Michigan at the Ohio State 12-yard line. Smith 12 carries today for a total of 48 yards. Now going back, one-on-one, intended for Nelson, and just sliding in there, getting his hand in the way was Doug Hill, weak side safety, making a good play.
Once again, they came with the play-action fake. It looked like an option. You'll watch Kerry Smith going out here. It looks like the option. Now Smith pulls it back. The tight end delays. Smith tries to drop it over there, but two guys in his way. Dangerous pass there when you're in that close.
You saw Backus, the linebacker, the inside dropping back. He was a shallow man working on Nelson. And then you saw Doug Hill, the safety, coming across and flicking away. 3rd down and 2 for the Wolverines at the 12 of Ohio State. Garrett on the handoff, close to the 1st down. Strikes to the 10-yard line. We'll wait till they unpile to see if they've got it. They'll mark it at the 10. We may get a measurement.
Very close. Can't really tell from the end zone camera, but it looks like it's a 1st down. That yard marker's right on the 10-yard line, Ray. It'll be very, very close. And I suspect that even if they don't have it, Michigan will go for that 1st down.
Inches. No more than 2 or 3 for the 1st down. 4th down and inches at the 10-yard line of Ohio State. Board of strategy time. Big play needed. Michigan leading 17-14, 8:21 to go in this ball game. As Jim told you, can they continue the drive and get in for some points, a touchdown, they could sail it away. And then they could get the Sugar Bowls ready. Garrett finding tough running room on that left side. He was greeted in there by Roland Tatum. It's very close to a 1st down.
If the ball is marked over the 10-yard line, you see Garrett get the ball. Now he breaks it outside. Now here's where he gets it. He just rolls. They'll mark that ball over the 10. If the ball is completely over the 10-yard line, that will be a 1st down. They're bringing the chains in, right?
And it's marked inside the 10-yard line. Needed at the most 3 inches. 1st down, Michigan. All right. Situation, 8 minutes and 5 seconds to go. Michigan just inside the Ohio State 10-yard line. Mark it at the 9. 1st and goal. Garrett has carried now 16 times for 66 yards. Garrett stays in there. His running mate is now Kerry Smith, the tailback, number 23. Double tight end employed by the Wolverines, Caddis and Nelson. Long count by Smith. Option coming up the way. Smith hangs on to it, fights for 2 yards, may settle for just 1 at the 8-yard line.
Boy, I'd like to see Steve pitch that ball out a little bit, because he's got a tailback back there, and he's got some running room, because all afternoon rather, Steve has been keeping that ball and turning it back up inside. He's got Kerry Smith out here. If he pitches the ball right there, Kerry Smith's going to have some room out there to run. You see 23 in your picture right there. Maybe we'll see it again the other way, and we'll see the ball pitched.
2nd and goal at the 8. Garrett and Kerry Smith remain in as the running tandem. Steve Smith looking, he's got a man open. Caddis, touchdown! Eric Caddis makes the reception, the junior from Cincinnati, Ohio, for his 1st reception of the year. It's a touchdown reception.
And give credit to the call. Caddis is the backside end. It's a throwback pattern. Smith is looking right the entire time. Back comes Caddis across the field. A mistaken coverage, wide open at the 2. Touchdown. Give Michigan credit on the call, Ray, for having everything flow to the right. And Caddis just kind of floated over there, snuck out of everybody's way, and was hoping that Smith would see him. When he did, Caddis just rolled into the end zone.
Bergeron checks in to try for the extra point. 6:57 remaining. Oh, ironic that a young man from Cincinnati, Ohio, makes the touchdown on the pass from Smith. Yes, kick is good. Flag has gone down. Wolverines with that extra point. It's against Ohio State. It is good. Wolverines 24, Ohio State 14. We'll be right back. Well, if you're a Michigan fan, you might be thinking the golden rule. Do unto others as they did to you. A year ago at Columbus, the same score. 24-14. Ohio State, of course, had the 24. That's the same score we have here at Michigan Stadium this afternoon with 6 minutes and 57 seconds to go. A penalty on that try for the extra point was roughing the kicker. And so it goes against Ohio State. And Michigan will mark that ball now at the 45-yard line. And Schlopy will get 5 yards there to kick this one off. So Michigan on top, 24-14. Wolverines led at the end of the first quarter by a score of 10-0. Halftime, they led 10-7. And then Ohio State went out in front of the third quarter, 14-10. Michigan came back early in the fourth quarter to make it 17-14. And now leading 24-14 thanks to that 8-yard scoring strike from Smith to Caddis. Kickoff dive. And waiting now is Lindsey and Woolridge. It'll be out of the end zone and marked at the Ohio State 20-yard line. So Schlopy has done the job. No return on that kick. And the Wolverines defense all set to face the offense of the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Well, the Wolverine defense has come up with big plays. Steve Smith, 8-yard pass to Caddis as Michigan went 60 yards in 3:54. But don't forget, they got the ball because of a fumble recovered by Michigan on their own 40-yard line when Ohio State had been driving.
So Michigan's last 2 scores resulting on turnovers by Ohio State, an intercepted pass, this last one on a fumble. Tomczak firing in desperation as he had pressure that time, trying to stay away from Mike Hammerstein. Hammerstein busting in there and forcing an early pass.
You'll see Mallory, number 42, left side of your screen, come outside and around as Rodney Lyles comes inside. And Hammerstein from the other side just beats his man one-on-one. But he forces Tomczak to throw early. While that isn't a sack, it's almost as good because Tomczak had no way to complete that pass with that kind of pressure from Hammerstein.
All right, second down and 10, Ohio State. Still at the Buckeye 20-yard line. Tomczak trying to get somebody open. And fires complete this time to Frank on the far side of the field. Forced out of bounds just across the 40-yard line. So the big tight end has been very busy for Ohio State. Hassel knocked him out of bounds.
Pass goes out. Michigan no blitz this time. 4-man rush. And you see Frank is out there. Michigan's giving that short pass up at this point. Hassel's got him one-on-one. Hassel let him go then to the deep man lot. They came up, but it's a first down for the Buckeyes. 6:39 left, Ray. This isn't over yet.
John Frank has made his 6th reception for a total of 75 yards. First and 10 Buckeyes. A lot of pressure again. Tomczak firing way over the head of his tight end. Is coming in there and busting in there for Michigan. Rodney Lyles giving chase.
Rodney Lyles coming on a blitz. Both inside linebackers also coming. Michigan picked that blitz up. But more than anything, it's almost a situation where when Tomczak sees those linebackers coming, he gets back there in that pocket and gets worried. So he throws early. It's a state of mind. They're creating a state of mind for Tomczak by running the blitz on him so often.
Michigan fans creating that wave around the stadium right now in the stands. And the wave is in motion. 6:28 to go in this ball game. Second and 10 Ohio State at the Buckeye 42-yard line. Tomczak again ready to pass. And firing almost a one-handed catch. That time by Anderson leaping up. Couldn't hang on to it. He also had his tight end Frank going deep, but he was covered by 2 men.
It looked as though there was some mistake in a pattern because both Frank and Anderson ran through the same area that Tomczak threw the ball. Normally, your receivers are further away from each other in that instance. That time, Anderson came across the middle. Tomczak let him a little too much.
So the Buckeyes now 3rd and 10. Boy, we talk about the turnovers in the 3rd and 4th quarter here. Big plays turned in, of course, by Cochran and Carlton Rose. And timeout is called now with 6:24 to go in the ball game. Michigan leading the score. Wolverines 24, Buckeyes 14. Time back in, 3rd down and 10. Total yardage by the Buckeyes, offensive-wise, 326. They've gone to 184 in the air, rushing in 34 carries for a total of 142. We'll check out on Michigan in just a moment. 3rd and 10 for the Buckeyes at the Ohio State 42-yard line. Tomczak looking. Good protection. Flicked away. Intercepted. Michigan. Fumble. Michigan still has it, however. A scramble down there. Cochran picked it off, and the fellow that flicked it away wound up with it, Mike Mallory.
Big play again by Michigan defensively, but that time they smelled it out. Ohio State wanted to go to John Frank, the tight end, coming across the field. He ran right into coverage. Tomczak tried to force it in. It gets tipped up by Mallory. Cochran reacts to the tip drill. Now he returns it. He doesn't put the ball away. Right there, it gets knocked out, but Mallory was right behind him to pick it up. Once again, Tomczak tries to force this ball into Frank. He's not open. Tomczak then takes a blow from both Sincich and Hammerstein, and the Michigan defense responds once again.
At the Michigan 41, 1st and 10. Eddie Garrett on the carry, might have got a yard. We talked about Ohio State's total offense. Michigan now 419 yards on 48 carries on the ground for a total of 213 yards, and Smith 11 of 18 in the air for a total of 206. And the Buckeye is a somber Buckeye right now. Meanwhile, let's just keep possession. I think Bo wants to call for a timeout. Wolverines will take a timeout with 5 minutes and 44 seconds to go. Michigan 24, Ohio State 14. We'll be right back. Total of 17 times. The tailbacks, Rogers 16 times, and Kerry Smith 1 time for a total 17. So the fullback, Garrett, for the most part, has been busy today.
Yes, he has. And Michigan has a player injured. It looks like Jerry Diorio down on the other side of the field. They're looking at a left knee. Milan Buletich, defensive linebackers coach, along with Gary Moeller, who's the defensive coordinator and assistant head coach, now talking to the defense, because the defense has really done the job today, but they're not done yet. There's 5 minutes and 34 seconds left. Michigan has just run a broken play. It's 3rd down now and about 12, Ray. And one of the things that Michigan could have done had they got a drive after that turnover is they really could have put this thing out of reach. But they're now facing a long 3rd down play. And one of the keys here, not to get involved in a situation where you throw a dangerous pass or something to get that 1st down. You do not want to give Ohio State a chance to get back in this game.
Well, you can afford to be conservative now, right?
Exactly. With a 10-point lead, 5.5 minutes left. You can be conservative. If you are going to throw, make sure it's a safe pass. If it's not a safe pass, then either throw it out of bounds or take the sack, and then let your defense get back in play.
Jerry Diorio, the senior from Youngstown, Ohio, at 6'3", 245 pounds, being helped from the field. What a great career he has had for the University of Michigan. Let's keep our fingers crossed. It's nothing serious. However, they were working on that left knee. The situation for the Wolverines now with 5:34 is a 3rd and 12 at the Wolverine 39-yard line. Balortis has checked in the place of Diorio at that left guard position for Michigan. Armstrong, the fullback, directly behind Steve Smith. And Smith fires to Markway. Incomplete. Del Rolla took a real hit from Sean Gale. Gale, by the way, came in this ball game as the hardest hitter of the secondary, and Mark Ray has just found that out.
He certainly has. Passes there once again. Smitty right on target. Mark Ray goes up, got his hands on it, and then there comes the hit by Gale. Big hit, and almost a deflection over there to Kerry Smith, who was coming over in that area. Mark Ray now getting some attention on the field. He was shaken up on that hit by Gale. But Michigan didn't use much of that clock, did they, Ray, after that turnover?
It did not. Clock at 5 minutes and 17 seconds. Continuing to work on Mark Ray. He's had a great ball game with the youngster just a few weeks ago, an unknown, and really has felt his presence known here on this Michigan squad.
But take a look at the hit once again. Mark Ray up. Does he have possession? Nope. And I'll tell you what, Gale makes sure he doesn't have possession after he was hit. Looks like he's favoring the right leg. And the hit came underneath the arm, it looked like, in the rib area.
So the young sophomore from Detroit, of course, looks as if he is through for this afternoon, but he's had a fine game. 4th down and 12. for the Wolverines back at the 39-yard line.
Well, if there was ever a time Don Bracken broke out of his slump, this is it.
Yeah, absolutely right. Bracken back around his 25-yard line for the punt. Garcia Lane for Ohio State around his 25. And Lane dangerous. Good punt by Bracken. Sends him back inside the 10, the 5. Now trying to find running room. Great coverage by the Wolverines as a down lane at the 8-yard line of Ohio State. A great punt by Bracken. Great coverage by the special team.
Boy, I'll tell you, Don Bracken, for being a GOAT earlier in the game with that 17-yard kick that gave Ohio State the ball at the 26-yard line, sure responded there on that one. And a mistake, I think, by Garcia Lane to go back and actually field the ball inside his 5-yard line. He should have let it go and they get it on the 20, but now they're stuck down inside their 10. Great coverage by Michigan because Ohio State came with the punt rush, didn't have a return on.
Domchak back to pass and has it completed. Cooper riding Frank out of bounds, the tight end, at the 15-yard line. Not enough for the first down.
Once again, Michigan is willing to give up the short pass, let Ohio State use as much of the clock as they can, and Frank goes out underneath. Cooper's got him, makes the sure tackle. There it is again. Cooper coming up, reacting to the ball. That's an 8-yard gain. Michigan will give those up down the field, but they want to keep them in play if they can.
Well, Michigan does that. Ohio State looking for a big play if they can. Going deep, very deep. Anderson overshoots him by about a yard. Cochran on the coverage, but Cedric Anderson was going deep as Ohio State was going for a touchdown strike. A flag back at the 15-yard line at the line of scrimmage.
Illegal receiver downfield. That's a loss of down and a penalty for the Buckeyes.
Getting darker here. The skies getting darker. It's been an overcast afternoon, but darker now here at Ann Arbor, and getting very dark now for Ohio State and their possibilities of pulling this one out. 4 minutes and 25 seconds to go. Marked back at the 10-yard line. Illegal receiver. Downfield. Turn over the down box and make it third. And just about nine yards. This could be it for Ohio State. 4:25 remaining in the ball game. The Wolverines, of course, in conference play, shooting for their 8th win of the year against that one loss against Illinois. Ohio State would suffer their 3rd defeat. Could not stay in bounds, could not make the reception. Again, Cochran covering, intended for Jemison, incomplete. And Ohio State faced now with a 4th and 9, still at the Buckeye 10-yard line.
Once again, Ray, the defense does the job. You just can't say enough about how this defense has played under pressure in so many games this season. They came up with a big turnover against Iowa that allowed them to get down and kick the field goal to beat the Hawkeyes. All season long, they have played very well defensively, and here against Ohio State, they have done it again, coming up with 3 turnovers and really turning this game around.
Edwards in there to punt for Ohio State. The Buckeyes looking for a turnover. Cooper waiting for it around the 46-yard line now of Ohio State, straight up the middle, inside the 40, struggles down to the 37-yard line. Evan Cooper bringing it down to the Ohio State 37. So Michigan with 4 minutes and 12 seconds remaining on the clock, leading in this ball game 24-14. Over 106,000 fans watching this game at Michigan Stadium this afternoon. And Cooper coming in this ball game, the leading punt returner in the Big Ten. A lot have been said, of course, about Garcia Lane of Ohio State, but Cooper in Big Ten play doing a little better than Garcia Lane. 1st and 10 Wolverines. Garrett and Kerry Smith. Kerry Smith, the tailback, has the ball and brought down just inside the 40-yard line, just about getting back to the line of scrimmage. Dave Morrill in there to make a good, clean tackle. Actually, a loss for Kerry Smith, only the 2nd time this year that he has been dropped for a loss. A loss of a yard. 2nd and 11. And the clock continuing to tick away down to 3 minutes and 40 seconds.
And Michigan staying with a double tight end alignment.
Garrett this time straight ahead, rambling down close to the 35-yard line. Tatum in there, along with Thomas Johnson and Casilius for Ohio State on the stop. Michigan taking plenty of time as they go back to the huddle. Now Vince Bean checks in, and Caddis comes out. Third and 8. Smith. Bean making a shoestring catch. They ruled it incomplete, saying that he trapped it. Incomplete. And so Michigan on a 4th and 9 now has a decision to make.
I'll tell you that the pass was in there because Ohio State came with a blitz. Kerry Smith is blocking Tatum, who's running through the middle. The pass is just low, but Vincent Bean is open, and sure enough, that one was on the ground. I'll tell you, Vince Bean did a good job of getting down and making it even look close.
May have him try out a shortstop next spring here.
Absolutely. Look out, Alan Trammell.
Bracken back to punt. Lane around his 10-yard line. Aiming for the corner. And goes out of bounds inside the 20, inside the 15, just around the 14-yard line. So Bracken does the job that time, and no run back, and did not put it back out for a touchback back to the 20-yard line. 2 minutes and 42 seconds remaining. Well, we'd like to take this opportunity to thank all of you who have joined us along our telecast this year on the Wolverine Sports Television Network in the various cities around Michigan and out of state. Thank you for your comments. And of course, thanks to the stations that carried our telecast, all the gentlemen and ladies that made it possible, you the fans, and our sponsors, of course, across the network. Tomczak back to pass. Hits Byers, and Byers run out of bounds at the 21-yard line. In there was Hassel to knock him out of bounds. I guess we talked, Jim, of thanking people, and certainly the folks here at the University of Michigan, the athletic department, have made it possible, but they've also been great aids in helping us to make our job easier.
All the way down the line, from Don Canham in particular, head coach Bo Schembechler, sports information director Bruce Motti, and many, many more.
Knocked away that time by Mallory. Good defensive play by the Michigan linebacker.
I'd like to say hello to Cyrus Varner in the booth with us. This is the second time around this year. A very big M man and M supporter. Take a look at Tomczak back to throw. Once again, Michigan taking away the deep middle. They're forcing Ohio State to go outside with short passes. Mike Mallory back there taking that deep drop is able to get into that zone, cut off the passing lane for the quarterback.
Jim Snyder, our statistician throughout the season. We appreciate Jim's fine work. Fred Poisson has been our spotter. Thank you, Freddie, for an outstanding job in this ball game again. And a pass is complete this time to Jemison, and comes up to around the 44-yard line. Buckeyes now, besides being down by 10, fighting that clock with 2:25 remaining. Time is called now as they bring up the chains to the 44.
You see how deep Michigan's people are. Jemison comes up, he's way underneath, but everybody's running back to take away the big play.
It's completed pass at the 45-yard line of Michigan. Frank that time on the receiving end, the tight end. 2 minutes and 15 seconds. The story of this ball game and what's remaining. 1st and 10. Tomczak. Good catch by Anderson. And Michigan's Cooper and Lott colliding over there, covering on the play. Anderson makes the reception at the 32, but Lott is stunned. Boy, Cooper and Lott really came together over there, covering on that play.
Yeah, they ran right into each other. They're both covering, and they're coming and reacting to the ball, reacting to the receiver. And when they saw him going down on the ground, both of them pulled up. And when both pulled up, you'll see they run right into each other, face mask to face mask.
Yeah.
There it is. That's tough when you get hurt by your own guy. Special thanks this year, too, I think, Ray, to Alex Agassi, who was our technical advisors on these broadcasts and did an outstanding job all season long helping us get ready for these telecasts of Michigan football.
Certainly has. Tomczak and Howe. Tomczak now 19 of 35, 244 yards in the air for Ohio State. Minute and 58. Pumping to Anderson. Anderson high in the air. Did he make the catch? Touchdown, Ohio State. No flags. Anderson taking it away from Hewlett and from Cooper, making a marvelous catch in the end zone.
Ray, it's not over till it's over. Did Yogi Berra once say that?
Yes, he did.
This is a Hail Mary pass. Tomczak goes up. He's got double coverage, pumps once, but Cooper doesn't take the fake. He stays back. It looks like he's ready to make the interception, and it's bobbled around there and right into Anderson's hands in the end zone.
They talked about a big play man for Ohio State besides Byers. It has been Cedric Anderson, the big play man when it comes to pass receptions. Cedric Anderson has the touchdown. The extra point is good. And Ohio State back in this ball game with a minute and 52 seconds to go. Michigan 24, Ohio State 21. But it was a circus catch by Cedric Anderson that did the trick.
Exactly. And when you talk circus catch, you're right. This is one of those things that you see in the pros sometimes. They just throw up a Hail Mary into the end zone, hope to get a deflection. And in this instance, that's exactly what they get. Wasn't anything fancy, simple out pattern and up. They call it a up and go, and he was out there, covered well, but the ball batted around. Anderson came up with it. We got a 3-point game, minute 52 left, Ray.
Really have. And Anderson, by the way, his third touchdown reception of the year at Ohio State. And the Buckeyes, after they got the ball, took only 50 seconds to move it down and get in for the score. Minute and 52 seconds. You see it right there. Michigan leading by 3. That lead cut. Ohio State Buckeyes may have something on mind of getting possession in the way of an onside kick. They've got to shoot some dice right now.
That's a very, very big possibility, and I'm sure that the Michigan Wolverines will come up with their what they call anti-kangaroo team. They'll have a lot of people up around the 50-yard line. Make sure when they get that football to lay down on it, hold on to it. Don't allow that ball to get in the hands of Ohio State.
All right, Rich Spangler, number 10, is the man that has that ball placed up on the tee. He's the fellow that just got the extra point for Ohio State. At the 40-yard line, Michigan looking for that onside kick. Batted around by Ohio State. I believe Cooper fell on it. Contact was made with that ball around the 50-yard line, and Evan Cooper coming up with it. As that ball had not gone 10 yards and was touched by Ohio State.
Exactly. The ball had not gone the designated 10 yards when it was touched by Ohio State. Now it comes up into Cooper's hands. Here it is again. You can see it's got to get over 2 yard lines, and it doesn't. Right there, it is batted. Now Michigan can accept the ball right there, and they do. So Michigan gets the ball on the Ohio State 48-yard line. Ohio State goes 85 yards in just 50 seconds and 6 plays. The Hail Mary pass, Tomczak to Cedric Anderson. Now Michigan's got the ball. Minute 51 left. Ohio State with 2 timeouts, Ray, and I think they'll probably be using them.
I thought that was Steve Hill that got that hand up there and touched that ball for Ohio State. Kerry Smith drives to the 45-yard line of Ohio State. Just about 3, possibly 4 yards on the carry. Give him 3 and make it down, second down and 7.
Ohio State has not used their timeout, Ray. The clock running, 1.5 minutes to play.
Wolverines taking plenty of time.
1 first down and this game's over with, Ray.
Nelson checks out. Caddis in there at tight end. Garrett straight ahead. Maybe got a yard on the carry. Well, the gentleman that was racked up and trying to make a reception, Mark Ray, who already had a touchdown earlier in this ball game, leaving early to get some more first aid treatment and I'm sure examination with that leg. Giovanni Johnson is in there at a wide receiver for Michigan. We're down to 1 minute and 3 seconds left, as the Buckeyes had called for a timeout, and so they have one remaining. Strategy time for the Wolverines, and Bo Schembechler to have his word.
And one thing we should also think about, would Ohio State go for the tie? That's very possible. Their longest kick, if I'm not mistaken, Ray, is one of 43 yards. And that would mean they'd have to get somewhere inside the 25-yard line of Michigan.
Paul Allen. Paul Allen, of course, is the fellow that has that 43-yarder.
And, Ray, what happens if it is a tie? Who gets the bowl bid and what happens? Do you know?
No, I don't, but I'm going to count on Jim Snyder here from the Sports Information Office. Tie means that Michigan has second place, but of course we expect that they would also move on into the Sugar Bowl. Minute and 3 seconds. 3rd and 8. Smith wanted to go up the middle. Looked as if he was going to try the old quarterback and go up the middle, and he was going to go no place. Leading the way, Thomas Johnson. Again, the young man from Detroit McKenzie leading the way on that defensive stop.
Exactly. Ohio State came with a big blitz up the middle. Steve Smith was going with the quarterback draw, and the blitz just, there's no way for a quarterback draw to work when you got people filling the middle like that. 52 seconds left to go. We got 4th down. Bo Schembechler talking to the officials, talking to his troops. Right now there's a question of who's on the sideline, who called a timeout. Ohio State, apparently they did not use a timeout. Okay, Ohio State did not use their timeout. And we already have fans up on the goalpost at the north end of the field. I think that's a little premature at this point.
I do too.
They have got to get those people off of that goalpost, and they're having a great difficulty doing it.
Now the clock begins to run. Down to 42 seconds.
Now Ohio State calls the timeout. Okay, and now that's what Bo Schembechler
wanted. Right, and they had stopped the clock, and he was saying, hey, we didn't call for a timeout. Keep it going.
Exactly. We didn't call for a timeout. We've got 25 seconds to run. If Ohio State calls a timeout, fine. Now Earl Bruce is talking to the officials on the far side of the field, wondering what that situation is. But that's what Bo Schembechler was so upset about earlier. He assumed Ohio State would call a timeout. They did not, but the clock did not start.
That's right.
So when Michigan went out on the field in their huddle, the referee started the clock. Then Ohio State had to use their last timeout, and the clock rolled down to 40 seconds. Now Michigan will come back on the field, give the ball to Ohio State on the punt. And Ohio State will have to negotiate whatever yardage they make, wherever they get the football in 40 seconds without any timeouts remaining.
Bracken once again, pressure situation, standing back at his 35. Line of scrimmage to 50. No contact made. Ohio State man back on side. Booms this one. Garcia Lane looks at it, bounces at the 2 and into the end zone. So touchback. 32 seconds remaining as Bracken hobbles off the field. Ohio State will have the ball at its own 20-yard line. Michigan clinging to a 3-point lead. 80 yards to go for the Buckeyes to get something going here.
This is a situation again, Ray, we got to talk about this. Ohio State can, inside the 25, get in field goal position. Michigan will be playing deep center field, looking for the long pass down the sidelines.
That means that secondary of Michigan have to be really alert. And complete to the tight end. Frank makes the reception at the 38-yard line. Gant in there, and Hewlett to make the tackle. First down, Ohio State at the Buckeye 38-yard line. Remember now, Buckeyes have no timeouts, but they stop the clock to get the chain up here. 24 seconds remaining. Tomczak faking to Byers. looking, passing, complete. First down. Michigan fans thought the Ohio State Buckeye receiver had been out of bounds, but Jemison made the completed pass. And they're going to bring it back now, saying it was no good.
Exactly. The official on the outside, the sideline, the pass was no good. Rose is in single coverage over there in the underneath. Looked good to me unless he was bobbling the ball. And now they're all over that goalpost. It's one of the things you just do not like to see, Ray. And I really mean it. I don't want to say anything bad about the fans, but the game is not over yet, and those people should not be on the goalpost. It's as simple as that.
Take another look at it.
Take a look at the catch again, or non-catch. Oh, he did bobble it.
Yep.
He did bobble it, and the referee was right there.
Good call. As we could not see it from that other angle, that time you can see he did not have possession. He was still juggling it. Tomczak with 15 seconds on the clock, trying to get a pass out. And in desperation going to his tailback Byers. Around him was Hammerstein trying to bring him to the turf. Down to 11 seconds on that incompleted pass. The clock is stopped. Michigan hanging on 24-21. The Buckeyes got some distance to go.
And Hammerstein had Tomczak by one leg, and Tomczak could not plant well enough with Hammerstein hanging on that leg to really get anything on that pass and get it out to Byers.
Tomczak now 21 of 39 for 294 yards. When's the last time you heard of a quarterback from Ohio State with that much yardage to the air? 11 seconds. In and out of the hands at time of Frank, the tight end. Clock stops, 7 seconds remaining.
Boy, you don't see that happen often. John Frank is an outstanding athlete from Ohio State, one of their best tight ends in their history, and he doesn't drop too many.
Top of your screen. Time remaining in the ball game. 7 seconds. 4th and 10 for the Buckeyes. Jemison wide.
We look at Earl Bruce.
About right. That's about right.
And here's Tomczak. He's going to run for the first down, but again, the clock runs out. And that's the ball game. Michigan heads for the Sugar Bowl. Virtue of a 24-21 victory over Ohio State this afternoon in Ann Arbor. We'll be back with a wrap-up after these words.
So after a couple of losses to Ohio State, that string comes to an end. Michigan wins it 24-21. And in the conference, 8-1, second place belonging to Wolverines.
Yeah, they really did a good job today. I think more than anything, you got to give this Ohio State victory to the defense. They came up with the big plays. They forced turnovers. Brad Cochran with a couple of interceptions. Fumble recovery by Hammerstein really got Michigan back in the game, gave them the lead in the fourth quarter after Ohio State had taken the lead 14-10. I think it was a outstanding job by the defense, as it has been all season, really.
Somebody says lucky and good, and when you are lucky to get those turnovers, you got to be good to do something with them.
Exactly, but you got to make your own luck too, and that's what the Michigan defense did all season. I can remember back to the Iowa game, they forced the turnover, got them the position to get the ball to kick the field goal to beat Iowa. So the defense all season has done it, and it's been a great year. I'm going to be looking forward to seeing that Sugar Bowl.
Let's talk about Michigan replay. You got a date with Bo Schembechler.
You got a date with Bo Schembechler. For all of those people along the Michigan or Wolverine Sports Television Network, we've got 2 shows left. The season finale, of course, when we discuss the Ohio State game, and I'm sure that he'll be in a good mood, probably smoking a $2 cigar. and then we've got one show following that, the season wrap-up show, and we will have a special, of course, before the bowl game down at New Orleans in the Sugar Bowl.
It's been a lot of fun this 1983 Big Ten season. Been fun working with you, Jim.
Been great working with you. You've been the best of all time.
So we'll take a time out now, pack our bags, get all ready for the Sugar Bowl, and we hope to see all of you very soon. Until then, so long, everybody.